Hello everyone, this is Cool Pro 195 streaming live with my 800 followers special celebration live stream. So this is the first live stream, as in like the first part to this live stream event. As you people can probably tell by the whole placeholder title preset that I have in place with the whole X/ question mark or X/ or X / question mark. But anyways, yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these live streams, and bear with me people, it's going to be a bit of time before I settle in, but this is going to be a pretty chill start to the event. It's definitely been a long time since I've done one of these followers special celebration live streams. And yes, a lot of you people are aware that my Twitch channel has already hit and surpassed 900 followers in the past, especially as of the previous 4 years. So yeah, it's been 4 years since I've done one of these celebration live streams, as in celebrating hitting a followers milestone on my Twitch channel, and now I'm doing this again. It definitely feels surreal, and as you can tell by all the logos on the thumbnail, it's gonna be proper action packed, I can tell you that much. Also, bear with me people, I've only recently just had breakfast too, so yeah, just let the commentary settle in a bit more. But yeah, it's great to be back doing these after such a long time. It hasn't been since 2021 since I've done one of these. Okay, so without any further introduction, the plan for this 800 follower special celebration livestream series event is to play through all the Game Boy Advance game releases within the Crash Bandicoot franchise, starting off with Crash Bandicoot Excess, which is also known as Crash Bandicoot The Huge Adventure in the USA, and also Crash Bandicoot Advance in Japan. So yeah, that's the game we'll be starting up with, and then we'll be proceeding on to Crash Bandicoot 2 Entranced, which is also known as Crash Bandicoot Advance 2 Guru Samen Daipanik in Japan. I think it's pronounced like Panic in Japan, even though the way we read it, it looks like it says panic because that's the way it's spelled, but of course, it's pronounced a certain way. So yeah, afterwards, that game will be followed by Crash Nitro Kart, as in the Game Boy Advance version of Crash Nitro Kart, completely different from, the base home console version, and also completely different from the PlayStation 2 version that I've played within the 500 followers special celebration livestream. Then afterwards, we'll be jumping on to Crash Bandicoot Fusion. And then finally finishing up with the Game Boy Advance version of Crash of the Titans. Yeah, that's right people, at least the first game of the Mutant series has landed a Game Boy Advance release. I don't know whether or not it was another tactic to get, the franchise, the game to sell more, or just the franchise itself to sell more at that time. But yeah. Also, yeah, a few things I forgot to mention. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot Nitro Kart in Japan was called Crash Bandicoot Bakusu Nitro Kart. I think I've previously mentioned that in the 500 followers special. I don't exactly remember, but that was a long time ago. That was way back in 2020, that was. And also, Crash Bandicoot Fusion was actually called Crash Bandicoot Purple Ripto's Rampage in the USA. And the Japanese version also had a different title, which is kind of complex. But yeah, I gotta say, this is gonna be really interesting playing all these 5 games, and I think this one is I'm really gonna have my work cut out for this one, but the plan for this event is to actually play each game separately within their own separate live streams for each respective game. So yeah, the first live stream will be Crash Bandicoot Excess. The first live stream will contain Excess, the second one will contain Entranced, the third will contain Nitro Kart, the fourth will contain Fusion, and the fifth will contain Titans. Also, before I forget, before anything important is forgotten, honourable shouts to both Mr. Original Name and James the Crimson Dragon. for your previous donations within past live streams. I highly appreciate the extended level of support that you put towards the channel. Any donation is highly appreciated for whatever purpose. But of course, the most important thing is that people just jump into the live streams and then just have a chill time. But yeah, like, it's always fun to live stream. So yeah, just settling back into this. Also, for those who actually want to guest commentate, I'm actually currently in the Dingo Crash Discord channel. I'm actually in the Dingo Crash general voice chat channel within the Dingo Crash Discord server. So if you happen to be within that specific Discord server, feel free to jump into the commentary. If not, then if you happen to have me in another Discord server, feel free to make a request so I can, feel free to make a request so then I can just, move a commentary to another Discord server or another voice chat in general. So yeah, that would be that. Alright, anyways, now let's proceed. There's no time at the present for me to whip this out to social media. Let's post this all over the place. So yeah, no time at the present. My life has been proper eventful, especially as of the past few years. And that's not sugarcoating it either. But the past 4 years, well, at least for these follow special celebration live streams, they've been like, it's been a jungle, at least like on that front, because of how busy life has been. But at the same time, I've been bridging the gap between these follow special celebration live streams at the same time, because back then when I was doing these live streams, it was quite literally one event after the other because of how fast I was gaining followers due to all this networking that I was doing in the past as of the early 2020s. But now, of course, things have settled down, and on top of that, life has gotten busy, so it got to a point where I had to put my Twitch channel on a backseat. So yeah, like things just pan out differently sometimes. Things just pan out the way they pan out, and there's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is just act accordingly. Alright, so that's social media taken care of. Now to post it all over. Not to post the link all over these Discord servers. Promote yourself! Yeah, I think I'm settling in a little bit better now compared to the start of the stream, but yeah, it was quite an adaptation. Man, spotlight effect. The spotlight effect strikes back. It's like how we despise the living fuck out of you. It just gives, like, the live streamer a false sense of, well, not necessarily a false sense of security, but, a false sense of insecurity per se. But this is gonna be fun, but I've got to say though, in terms of like the content that I'm gonna provide for this event and for this particular live stream, it's gonna be chill compared to the rest, because Crash Bandicoot Excess is the most chill game out of all of these 5 games that you see on the thumbnail. Honestly, I reckon the proper test is gonna start the second I start playing Entranced, or not even that, just like either like Entranced or Nitro Kart onwards. Basically, like post Entranced or post Nitro Kart, things are gonna get intense. But of course, like, it always depends on how everything's gonna pan out. It always depends. As a matter of fact, fun fact, the original plan was to actually play Crash Bandicoot Excess and Crash Bandicoot 2 Entranced, as in like both in one live stream for the first part of this live stream. Well, like the first part of live stream of this event. But then, of course, after a certain amount of time, I ended up deciding against that because I've got to take into account how it's gonna pan out in either one of the two games. Because of the fact that, you know, we don't know what's gonna happen. It always depends on like whether or not a certain game takes the piss, and whenever that happens, that always pads out the length of the live stream. So yeah, it's like whenever people encounter piss takes, it always pads out the length of the live stream as a result. But the reason why I originally decided to do that was because Excess and Entrance both have practically the exact same gameplay concept, because they both have the conventional Crash Bandicoot platformer type of gameplay formula in place. Although Crash Bandicoot Fusion does sort of have that in common. Actually, it also has that in common with Excess and Entrance, but the thing with Fusion is that it's not the exact same premise, because the whole platformer concept takes place mainly on the home world, with only just a few of the actual levels themselves plus the bonus rounds. Whereas the rest of the levels have completely different gameplay concepts altogether. But yeah, no, it's good to be starting this up after a while. After 4 years. Yeah, the last time I did one of these Father's Special Celebration live streams was back in 2021. When I was playing the Mutant series. For my 700 followers special, I actually played the PS2 versions of Crash of the Titans and Crash Mind Over Mutant. Hey Totemek SK, welcome to the live stream. Cheers for stopping by. He says congratulations to 800 followers. Thanks very much, I highly appreciate it. Although, as you can tell by my stats, you already know that I've already hit and surpassed 900 followers, but as I've explained previously, I have different plans for my 900 followers special celebration live stream. So for this event, I plan to play over Game Boy Advance games, and for the 900 followers special, I actually plan to play over Nintendo DS games within the franchise, but these will be split up into separate live streams for each respective game. And by the way, there'll be any % completion playthroughs for each game, considering these are just these type of live streams are only meant to be celebratory but also chill at the same time. If I plan to do a 100% completion playthrough for all of these games, then I'd pretty much do them as their own separate event, or as an event that's a bigger type of celebration per se. But of course, it always depends how it pans out. But yeah, cheers for stopping by to Totemek SK. But yeah, just sharing this around multiple different Discord servers that I'm in before I get started. He says, yeah, that is true. So also congrats to 902. Once again, cheers again for the congratulations. Also, yeah, your live streams have definitely been fun to watch in the process. Even though, I haven't been present 100% of the time, I must admit, but they have been fun to watch, especially with all these challenges that you do with Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Man, I already can't wait to get started, you know. Especially with the Game Boy Advance games, I actually hold plenty of nostalgia with them in the past. And yeah, I'll get more into that in just a bit. But yeah, no, it's been a hot minute since I've actually live streamed. It's actually been a hot minute since I've done one of these follower special celebration live streams in general. Totemic SK says, so what game are you playing first today? So yeah, I'll be starting off with Crash Bandicoot XS for the Game Boy Advance. It's definitely like, it's a simplistic game compared to the rest. But yeah, I'll get more into that in a bit. It's still whipping the link out to multiple different Discord servers. But yeah, hopefully the chat will start popping up soon. But yeah, cheers for joining, Totemic. Okay, so I had to mute my mic and double check a few Discord servers here and there, but yeah, that's pretty much all of them covered now. So yeah, as I was saying, the Game Boy Advance games certainly hold a lot of nostalgia for me personally, and as a matter of fact, Crash Bandicoot Excess was the very first Crash Bandicoot game, and also the very first, well, not the very first Crash Bandicoot game, but as a matter of fact, Crash Bandicoot Excess was the very first Game Boy Advance game I've ever owned as part of my collection, also as part of the games that I've played in the past, although my very first experience with the Game Boy Advance was when I played it at a kiosk inside a game store, and I think the game was Mario Kart Advance, and I only played it for I was only playing it for like a minute or two, like a couple of minutes per se, give or take. So yeah, the very first Game Boy Advance game I played was Mario Kart Advance, but the very first Game Boy Advance game, even though I wouldn't even consider playing that game properly since it was like a couple of minutes, but the first Game Boy Advance game I've ever owned and played within my personal possession was Crash Bandicoot Excess. Because of the fact that, as a matter of fact, I actually got the Game Boy Advance plus Crash Bandicoot Excess as a birthday present for my 7th birthday back in 2002 on the year of the game's release. Even though the Game Boy Advance itself came out in 2001, still in plenty of good time. So yeah, my first ever Game Boy Advance game in my possession wasn't even a Super Mario game, it was a Crash Bandicoot game. So yeah, definitely hold a lot of nostalgia with Crash Bandicoot in general. And while we're on that, if anyone has while we're on that topic, if anyone has like any personal nostalgia with the Game Boy Advance, what was the first game you ever played, or what was your nostalgic experience with the Game Boy Advance in general, if you happen to have played it in the past? So while we're on that, yeah, it's interesting because, it's actually really interesting because since the Game Boy Advance came out in 2001 and and 2021 was, it was the last year that I was doing one of these for a special celebration live streams. It would have been pretty thin for me to have started this, live stream event back then, like at the time back in 2021, since, it's a Game Boy Advance themed live stream. Although it will be split up into 5 parts with one live stream per game. But at the same time, it would have been fitting in 2022 because 2021 would have been the 20th, because 2021 was the 20th anniversary of the Game Boy Advance, and 2022 was the 20th anniversary of Crash Bandicoot Excess, so either one of those 2 years would have been fitting, but of course. I apologise for that, I had to mute the mic. And then just, just had to put them in their place as I was live streaming. But yeah. So anyways, it would have been fitting either way, but it's crazy to think that these games are actually hitting their 20th anniversary. Crash Bandicoot and Trance hit its 20th anniversary in 2023, and so did Crash Nitro Kart. And same with Crash Bandicoot Fusion in 2024, which was last year. The only one that still hasn't hit its anniversary yet is Crash of the Titans, which, it's a really late release. Well, the latest release in the Game Boy Advance collection anyway. But yeah, anyways, that'll be that. Okay, so I reckon now it's no time like the present to fire up the Visual Boy Advance emulator. It's officially time to put some gameplay into action. Okay, now let's cue the Game Boy Advance startup sequence. Here we are, this intro is purely nostalgic. So yeah, this is Vicarious Vision's first ever entry. I don't know why I ended up saying Vicarious, but yeah. So yeah, people, this is Vicarious Vision's first ever entry with a title release for the Crash Bandicoot franchise. Before, you know, they made their first home console release as Crash Nitro Kart in 2003. But yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting and it's going to be a lot of fun, but it'll be slightly different from the original games. But, you know, it's worth getting used to. Anyways, let's jump in. So yeah, for the cutscenes, they're not even cutscenes, they're more like a PowerPoint slideshow per se. But of course, Game Boy Advance limitations, it's just the way they are. So yeah, it's nice though, they actually utilize, what do you call it, the planet Earth and, you know, the space station from Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. Actually, I think it's from Crash 1 and 2, that is. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, I'll read out a bit of dialogue just for the fun of it as well. On a mysterious space station orbiting high above the Earth. As you can see, it's like, at some points they pretty much utilize the warp room from Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, but they've edited some parts in order to, like, you know, fit the atmosphere. But yeah, a lot of stuff was sampled, but it makes sense, they wanted to be faithful to the PS1 games. And Uka's like, Cortex, remind me why I keep you around. You have failed me one too many times. Uka, forgive me. I've been wasting all these years trying to vanquish that brainless Bandicoot. He is of no importance to us. We want to take over the world. I've heard it all before, little scientist. What is so different this time? Trust me, Yuka, I have a little plan to bring Earth's puny inhabitants down to size. And cue the title screen. It's interesting how they remixed the Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped theme in multiple different ways. And they made, like, you know, a proper remix for the title screen. So yeah, I'll hold lots of nostalgia for the Game Boy Advance games. I almost forgot, every time you click away from the emulator, it always, you know, it always stops the emulation. But yeah, anyways. I remember, like, although it's good that we can emulate Game Boy Advance games now, because, like, it's not only does it make the games more accessible, but it's just more fun to, like, it takes out all the limitations that you had from back in the day, from when you actually had, like, a Game Boy Advance, where you had to, like, replace the batteries every time they were running low, every time, you know, the light went red on the console, or every time the power light went red. So yeah, this is a great way to play Game Boy Advance games. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has had that particular experience, but yeah, that is something that they've definitely, this is something that, you know, this is pretty much like what the power emulation, this is pretty much like, you know, what the power of emulation can bring us. Yeah, I don't know if you're still there, Totemic, but, you know, it's great to see that you popped in the chat, and also if anyone else is gonna jump in, then, you know, cool. But anyways, let's get to business. At last, my planetary minimizer is complete. Earthlings will bow to my superior intellect. Yeah, they just like use that to simulate the planet shrinking with his like ray and all that. But yeah, now he's just looking down at everyone else. Him and his superior intellect. Yeah, bear with me, people. Like, I've only just woken up like a couple of hours ago, so fuck it. But yeah, Cortex is now. Finally, after all these years of abuse, the tables have turned. Who's the little guy now? I'm sort of giving him a more Lex Lang voice compared to like compared to a Clancy Brown voice. But yeah, he would have been like, the tables have turned. I, Neo Cortex, am your ruler. You will look up to me. Ha ha ha. I have finally won. Now nothing can stop me. Not even that little bandicoot. As you see him as you just see him standing in the middle of the warp room holding the planet, like within the palm of his hands. Well, not even the palm of his hands, but like in between his finger and his thumb. It's pretty cool. I like how they remix the Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back theme. For like, you know, the parts of these quote-unquote cutscenes where they just show the perspectives of Crash, Coco, and Aku Aku. Crash, Coco, the world needs your help. Cortex has shrunk our planet to the size of a grapefruit. We must stop him.
It looks as if Cortex is using the crystals to power his shrinking machine. Crash, if you find the proper crystals from around the world, I think I can build a device to reverse the effects.
Yeah, I'll do whichever voice I see fit. Otherwise, fuck it. Good luck, Crash. You must find the crystals. Good luck, Crash. You must find the crystals so we can put an end to Cortex's evil scheme. So yeah, like, these are the most chill parts. Alright, here we are in the warp room. So yeah, they sampled the exact same concept from the Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped warp room, but the way you progress between like each warp room is that it's kind of treated like an elevator, and Crash is like on a platform where you just like shoot him into a portal as opposed to him like walking into a portal. Okay, and yeah, they shortened the theme tune as well. Alright, let's jump into Jungle Jam, the first level. As you can see, like, they've sampled the pause menu from Crash 3 as well, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, the first level is a jungle level, well, technically a jungle ruins level. But yeah, lots of nostalgia with this. I've got to say, this music is pretty iconic as well. And I also like how they remixed it in the sequel of this game too. I think the emulator's kind of like just tanking a little bit too, for some reason. I mean, the last time it got a new version was 2005, so fuck it. Wait, is it still? Alright, fair enough. Okay. Okay, so we're in the bonus round. Yeah. Alright, I was just checking something because for some reason it was like showing my Discord circle on top of the emulator, but I don't think it's doing that in the live stream though. But yeah, these bonus rounds, well, these bonus rounds are piss easy. Well, most of them are. The later ones do get harder. I remember the last time I featured this on my YouTube channel at least was when I was actually doing one of those speculation discussions on the whole Katsuo Yoshikai situation where, like, he pretty much orchestrated a whole, you know, fake fan-made project, whereas, like, it was sort of like a hypothetical trailer, I think it was, of, you know, Crash Bandicoot XS, well, not just Crash Bandicoot XS, but like the Japanese versions of the Game Boy Advance games being ported to the Nintendo Wii U, as in like the, you know, the official game store for that. There's a lot of speculation going on around, you know, that particular topic, whereas like, you know, people such as myself, Old Classic Gamer, Jeremiah Zaya, and among plenty of other content creators have speculated on that back in the day, which was way back in 2015, which is 10 years ago, so in a way it's sort of partially fitting that I'm actually live streaming this game today of all days, well, this year of all years more like. But yeah, anyways, let's move on. So yeah, Shipwrecked, which is the second level. So yeah, our first underwater level. I do sort of like the way they remix the theme for this game too. I gotta be really careful because the physics are kind of fucked too. So yeah, I gotta be careful with this shit. I remember these were super intense to play back in the day, and the music, I gotta say, did make it feel a lot more immersive back when I was a kid. So yeah, you can tell the overall vibe that they were going for with this game. So Crash Bandicoot XS was pretty much a throwback to Crash 2 and Crash 3. Whereas its sequel, Crash Bandicoot 2 Entranced, was, you know, was actually more of a throwback to Crash 3 and the Wrath of Cortex. And you can tell based on, you know, the type of levels, well, the type of level scenarios that they've recreated and brought back. Not just scenarios, but like environments in general. And you're gonna see later on when it comes to like later parts of the game, and not just in bonus rounds, but like in main parts of the levels as well, you'll see that certain crate templates or from, you know, the original trilogy in general were actually reused. Yeah, like, I'm partially treading carefully here, like, you know, I'm really taking proper precaution here, because like, I don't know how any of this shit is gonna pan out. You gotta be careful. Plus, like, I don't play this that frequently either, so, and also rightfully so, because especially in this day and age, not everyone's gonna be playing Game Boy Advance games 100% of the time. So yeah, this is pretty much just a nostalgic revisit per se. Right, so I've got all the crates. Fucking hell. He took his time to... Then again, I couldn't even see what was off screen, but fuck it. That was a cheap death, but fuck it. I do remember certain parts taking a piss, but the mines are easier to dodge. It's interesting how at the end of each of these underwater levels, in this game in particular, they have like a Super Mario pipe type of simulation, as in like an end portal concept. Okay, Temple of Boom for the third level of the game. Okay, I hope everyone's enjoying the live stream so far, because it's definitely been fun. I'm definitely having fun so far. Wait, let me double check. Okay, yeah, Totemic SK. Wait, let me bring up the chat on my phone as well, because I haven't done that yet. So I think you've commented some of these comments a bit of a long time ago now to TemicSK, but yeah, he says, yup, still here lurking. That's cool. Nice emoji there as well. He says, curious to see how this game looks, and this is precisely how it looks. Yeah, it's definitely fun. He says, and we have the first gem. He says, it still does. He says, very fitting from the water level. Yeah. The music plus the atmosphere in general is just, you know, perfect for it. He also says, this game looks super fun. It certainly is. It's a lot of fun. Dino's wiggle emoji plus the Tark Munch emoji. But I am gonna level with you. On paper, the game does look like a lot of fun, but like when it comes to the practicality of it, like the physics do take some getting used to, especially when it comes to like, you know, slide jumping. It's like, and you're actually gonna see this in a later bonus round, not necessarily this one, but more specifically, more so the bonus round in level 10. And there'll come a point where like you'll have to like utilize the slide jump in a specific way. So yeah, I pretty much did that on purpose, because like if you break both crates before jumping up there, you actually won't be able to get up to that platform anymore. Well, that platform, you actually won't be able to get up to that platform of iron crates anymore, due to the fact that, you know, you don't have a double jump yet. So yeah, you earn power-ups in this game too. It's interesting how, like, in some places they put, oh, we got another one of those fucking bots, they can fuck off. Okay, so, crisis averted per se, even though it's not much of a crisis, but you know, situation dealt with that bot, but fuck it. But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, yeah, the physics do certainly get... It's interesting how, like, they sometimes put Aku crates inside question mark crates, as well as just Wumpa Fruit and lives, or as well as just lives and Wumpa Fruit. And they don't just do it in this game as well, they do it in Entranced as well. And mind you, Entranced is going to be a lot of fun to play when we get to that game. That'll be in the next live stream for this event. So if all goes to plan, I might actually end up doing 5 live streams for this event. If all goes to plan. Okay, so this part over here, I'm only going to go here for like showcase purposes. So technically, this part here takes you to a death path, but the thing is, it requires the red gem in order to unlock the platform that takes you to the death path. As you can see right here, the platform is phased out because it requires the red gem in order to unlock it. Okay, so that part panned out well, to say the least. So yeah, I'm just going to take it one step at a time, not going to rush it, not going to overthink my actions. It's just, you know, going to be a chill live stream. Once again, more invincibility. By the way, yeah, if you get one Aku mask after the other in the middle of an invincibility, it actually extends your invincibility, which is pretty neat. Okay, so level 4 Frostbite Cavern. So this level, as you can tell, is a Crash 2 themed level, hence we're entering the snow level type of environment. Also on top of that, this level actually features like a chase section where we're being chased by this massive ass creature which appears to be either an abominable snowman or a fucking yeti of some type. Whatever, like they're both white, so it's easy to like mistake one for the other. Okay, yeah, it's best to speed up when you have invincibility. Therefore you can just completely tear the entire fucking course apart, you know. Yeah, the Yeti can break crates for you as well, so yeah, he does you a solid in that respect. And he kills the fucking penguins that step in your path. Not to mention tearing apart the electricity gates. Invincibility up in the building, mofos. I have to say, I actually progressed through that section unscathed, which is a little bit surprising because it doesn't always pan out that way. Of course, like, they always have to reference all the previous games. It's interesting how like they treat bonus rounds as they treat bonus round platforms as portals in this game, whereas like in Entranced, they treat it as an actual bonus round platform that takes you off screen when you enter a bonus round and then brings you back on screen whenever you enter a bonus round. So yeah, it's 5 bounces per one of these, you know, multiple bounce crates within this game, which, you know, it's a good thing that they made that decision compared to, it's a good thing that they decided to go for the, you know, double Wumpa Fruit 5 bounce mechanic for those crates from Crash 3 as opposed to like the 10 bounce 1 Wumpa Fruit, as opposed to like the whole single Wumpa Fruit 1 bounce mechanic out of like, you know, 10 bounces from Crash 1 and 2, because people do not need to spend that long counting, you know, people certainly do not need to be spending that long counting the number of bounces in order to ensure that they're safe. Alright, jumping into level 5 Justin Slime, which is the first sewer level in the game. Once again, another Crash 2 environment. These are certainly one of my favourite types of levels in Crash 2, and I like how they brought them back in excess. Although with that being said, they did make some of these ridiculously hard in excess from my personal experience from back in the day on the actual Game Boy Advance. But yeah, like, we always gotta watch out for, you know, bits and pieces of trickery and deceit when it comes to crate layouts. Okay, so far things have been panning out well. Wait till we get to the second warp room, because the first warp room is actually pretty chill. I get that sometimes it can look like somewhat of a guessing game. It can look like some type of guessing game in terms of like, you know, where you're gonna land, because, you know, because of the field of view and the, you know, because of the field of view and the draw distance, you don't really have, you know, much space on the screen to tell like how much, to like, you know, tell how much platform you've got, or tell much like how much pieces of platform that you've got beneath you. And that's purely based on like how high you are in like, you know, the level's world space itself. Alright, you know what, it's actually perfect that we have invincibility over here, because then we don't have to backtrack in order to get these crates after we hit the nitro crate switch crate. So yeah, that just makes the process that much easier. It just makes the whole process that much easier. Also, yeah, perfect pro tip. Get that life first before triggering that nitro crate switch. Therefore, you can just... Therefore, like, you don't accidentally end up blowing up that life. Okay, that was perfect timing, because the invincibility literally just ran out at that point. And yes, Totemic SK, I clocked that celebratory emoji there. But yeah, it's perfectly fitting for the... It's certainly perfectly fitting for the occasion. This is pretty much what I was talking about. It's like, when it comes to like the sliding mechanic, it's like if you leave it sliding for too long, it actually kills your jump input, which I have to admit is pretty fucking atrocious. It's a piss take to deal with, but if you know how to combat it, then it's not very problematic. So yeah, if you're actually pulling off a slide jump, then the best thing to do is like press the jump button pretty much like a split second after you initiate that slide. So yeah, Totemic also says, invincibility while riding polar bear, that's new. Yeah, that's completely new as well. Because, well, it's new in this game at the very least, because like, in, what do you call it? Because in Crash 2, that was clearly never the case. In fact, I don't even think they even had Aku Aku masks in those levels, to be precise. Alright, so the first boss fight will be facing up against his Dingodile, which also takes place underwater. So yeah, it's a nice mix of Crash 2 and 3 there. Although, like, interestingly enough, when it comes to like the boss fight themes themselves, as for the remixes, I'm not sure whether or not this was a developer oversight, but like at least 3 of the boss fights have remixes of like each other's theme tunes. So like Dingodile has like a remix of Dr. Engine's boss fight theme tune. Dr. Engine has a remake of, well, Dr. Engine has a remix of Tiny Tiger's boss fight theme tune, and Tiny Tiger has a remix of Dingodile's boss fight theme tune, and the only one that has like a correct remix to its own theme tune is, or the only one that has like a remix to like its own correct respective theme tune is Dr. Neo Cortex, and they remix for Crash 3 boss fight theme tune. Well, they remix for Crash 3 final boss fight theme tune as well for like Dr. Neo Cortex, and not just Cortex but Mega Mix as well, which is the boss fight that you, well, I'd say face, but technically like you run away from in like a space level type of environment, well, a futuristic space level type of environment that you'll see later on as like the alternate ending of a final boss. So yeah, Mega Mix has the same theme tune, which, by the way, if you don't know what Mega Mix is, if you haven't at least played Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, you'd know that Mega Mix is basically a mixture of like, I think 4 characters. It's a mixture of Cortex, Tiny, Dingodile, and Engine. But anyway, just like that, we've unlocked the Super Body Slam. Okay, Super Body Slam. Push R in midair to Super Body Slam. This destroys crates and nearby enemies. Push start to continue. So yeah, it's the same premise. So just like Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex, they've re-implemented the same premise, where you earn, you know, the exact same power-ups all over again, just like you did in Crash 3. So starting with the Super Body Slam, the double jump, the Death Tornado spin, and the speed shoes. Although you don't earn the bazooka in this game, because this game only has 4 warp rooms, and on top of that they didn't implement that premise, so yeah. Nice celebratory Crash 2 theme, which is pretty fitting too. Cortex is like, meddling marsupial, you got lucky this time. My henchman won't be so easy on you in the future. That text box management though. Alright, here we are in the second warp room. But yeah, the text box management is kind of like, is a bit unorthodox. They certainly could have like, you know, saved themselves a bit of time if they sort of, you know, shrunk the text slightly in order to make more words fit. So then we don't have to look at so then like we don't have to look at incomplete sentences all the time, but hey, it is what it is, we can't change the past. Apart from that, I still enjoy playing this game. Wait, let me see that emoji. Tart goose. Yeah man, those emojis are really fun. Alright, let's jump into level 6 Snow Crash. See, I remember from personal experience this one, initially I found it a lot harder than the first one. I found this snow level a lot harder than the first snow level in this game. So yeah, level 6 was actually a lot harder than level 4 in terms of like the chase section. The platforming sections were okay. By the way, we've encountered another one of those situations where you can see a death path platform that's phased out, and this one requires the blue gem to unlock it, which you pick up in level 10, which is in the same warp room. But the funny thing is, you need a death tornado spin, well, you need a double jump plus the death tornado spin in order to reach the blue gem in level 10, because they put it in a very specific, inconspicuous place. So yeah, we've reached another one of those situations. Oh yeah, I think this is the first level that they actually introduced those, actually I don't even remember whether or not they've put those, you know, slippery ice platform, slippery ice platform terrain premises in like level 4, but they certainly brought them into this level. Invincibility is like next level. Yeah, this is definitely something that was not implemented in Crash 2. Invincibility while riding a polar bear. Well, it's even more fitting, like, in a way, like, I can understand why they implemented it, because, like, it's very useful when, like, you're running towards the camera. You're gonna need invincibility when it comes to, like, you know, combating certain traps and shit. Okay, like, at some point, there's gonna be, like, this middle gate that pops up, which, you know, it used to be really problematic for me, and yeah, that was the one I was talking about. So yeah, I made it through that one unscathed and all, which is pretty dope. Also, fun fact, if you actually have invincibility in this game, you don't just destroy enemies, you don't just kill enemies, but you actually destroy parts of a level, as in like, obstacles that would kill you. Especially with those like platforms that, well, not necessarily platforms, but those pillars, those wooden pillars that were designed to squash Crash. If you have invincibility in this game, you can actually destroy them. Well, I say destroy them, but like they immediately disappear the second you pass through them with a triple Aku Aku mask invincibility. Hey, Settledown191, cheers for stopping by. He says, how's it going, man? Yeah, man, it's going pretty decent. The live stream's been pretty chill so far. Welcome to the first part of a live stream to my 800 followers special celebration live stream series event that I have going on right now. Well, that's happening right now, as you can tell by the whole placeholder title concept that I have. I'll now have one of. It's interesting how like these seals over here, just like, it's funny how like, it's something that I've always clocked as a kid, and like, when they come down, like, they can just hit you on the way down, but the funny thing is you can combat that by spinning them as they come down, so like, it sort of fucks up their plans. You know what's even more funny? Like, I was actually legit gonna autopilot into calling them a foca, which is the Portuguese word for seal. So yeah, foca means seal in Portuguese. Because like, you know, I grew up speaking Portuguese as well as English. Hence my background. But anyways, let's move on. Okay, now we're moving on to level 7 Rocket Racket. He also says, nice man, yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's certainly been a while, and I'm honestly glad to be back live streaming, and I'm glad to be putting these particular types of live streams back into action. Okay, so he says, I just got back from a friend's place. That's cool, hope you had a great time around at your friend's house. Okay, Rocket Racket, here we go. So yeah, this level realizes the whole jetpack premise, but it's more of like an arcade shoot 'em up, but it's facing forwards. It reminds me of one of those old PC games, Galactic Patrol, which is like, you know, very obscure. It's from like the MS-DOS era, I think it was, or not even MS-DOS era, just like early Windows XP era. Probably like Windows 95 to Windows 98, give or take, but I remember it being compatible with Windows XP, so it didn't go that far back. I think it was at least released in there, you know, in the early 2000s. Okay, crates are really piss easy to miss as well, so yeah, really gotta watch out for them. By the way, yeah, that blimp that you saw just then, every blimp that you destroy is a checkpoint. So there are 3 blimps in total in each level, well, in each of these levels. And the final blimp that you destroy is pretty much the end of the level. That's pretty much like the level's culmination, like the completion of the level. And yeah, they shoot fucking rockets as well, which they don't look much like rockets, they just look more like circles, but of course, this game was developed with like a low resolution screen in mind, because like the screen resolution for the Game Boy Advance was 240 by 160, so it's extremely unsurprising how everything looks choppy as fuck. But you know, you put up with it. It's a Game Boy Advance game, what the fuck do you expect? Honestly, like, I wouldn't put it past Vicarious Visions to be cutting corners and stuff like that in order to, like, you know, compensate for the Game Boy Advance limitations. Not just performance limitations, but like, you know, graphical limitations on top of that. And yeah, we have speed gates as well, which is pretty cool. It's really helpful to go through as many of them as possible, because not only do they get you through the level faster, but they also, it also increases your chances of building up your health percentage. It's interesting how like they simulated this type of premise in this game too. Because like, they just have like visual effects for clouds, I think it is, or not even that, just like a gif of clouds and then just like an image in the background in order to simulate the skybox. Alright, so just hanging, let's fucking go. Level 8, just hanging. So yeah, by the way, since both of you are here... Oh wait, Settle Down 191 says, yeah, I've been taking a little break from streaming and just focusing on my studies. And then in my free time I've been revisiting all the GTAs until GTA 6 come out. Yep, gotta hype yourself up for GTA 6, you know, especially since it's potentially coming out this year or next year, although most likely next year. He also says, this is also a game I want to play. Yeah, so I presume you haven't had any past experience with the Game Boy Advance. Or maybe you have, but you've played other games. But yeah, as I've mentioned closer to the start of this livestream, this is my first ever Game Boy Advance game that I've ever owned in my possession. Since I actually got it as a birthday present. Well, I got the Game Boy Advance plus Crash Bandicoot XS as a birthday present for my 7th birthday back in 2002. So yeah, I have plenty of nostalgia with this game. Okay, really gotta watch my jumps here, because this is pure insanity. You can see I was right at the edge of those crates there. There's no telling whether or not I was gonna make that unless you actually know how the game's physics work. So yeah, this game plus Insane Trilogy, they sort of have like the same type of physics in common when it comes to like, you know, killing inputs or what the fuck ever. Also, fun fact, if you can't reach the Wumpa Fruit, even though like you have like even though you do pick up a double jump later on in the game, like, you can still pick them up with a body slam, or the super body slam as we now have. Okay, that was cheap, but fuck it. But yeah, I always personally found that fun as a kid. But yeah, you don't always have to get them, but I always found it fun. Okay, I actually got the one on the far left. That was a pretty neat execution there. Alright, so yeah, we're approaching the end of this bonus round. So Settle Down 191 says, the only game I played on Game Boy Advance was GTA Advance, so yeah, not a lot of experience. Well, at least it was a GTA game. It's still a Game Boy Advance game nonetheless, and also GTA Advance is... I have to admit, it's not like... Of course it's not your typical GTA experience, but like... You know, as long as you're playing GTA to some extent, like, that's the quintessential gaming experience per se. Honestly, GTA 6 is gonna be dope. It's funny how like Nintendo consoles from back in the day had like GTA games. I think DS had a GTA game. Yeah, Nintendo DS actually had GTA Chinatown Wars. I remember. And now, like, interestingly enough, they actually brought that back with, you know, GTA the Definitive Edition. They actually ported that trilogy to the Nintendo Switch, but it came out later than the PC. It came out later than the PS4, Xbox One, and PC releases. Here's a fun fact. With the Super Body Slam in this game, unlike the rest of the games, unlike Crash 3 and all the others, like the Super Body Slam, doing a Super Body Slam near nitro crates actually doesn't affect you. You don't take damage from it in this game. And it's the exact same case with its sequel, Entranced. You don't actually take damage from doing a Super Body Slam in close proximity to a set of nitro crates. And on top of that, it makes the entire completion process of the level that much easier. Not just in terms of, like, you know, smashing crates, but in terms of like eliminating potential dangers that await your path. Yeah, they sort of repeat this concept a few times over here, where like they have like two pipes hanging down plus a rat next to it, plus like, you know, a sewer rat approaching the second one. Well, they brought back the mesh hanging sections in this as well, which it was kind of interesting. Oh yeah, and by the way, there's that platform over there, which of course, as you can see, is completely phased out. And ended up killing myself, as you can see, was like a result of the Game Boy Advance's, well, as a result of, you know, the game engine's poor input handling, because I could have potentially jumped if I was able to, like, you know, jump off, after having the slide extend for that period of time. But yeah, I was trying to showcase, the reason why I was doing that is because I was trying to showcase the entirety of that platform, as in like the entirety of its dimensions, but it's not always necessary. But I just did it for the fun of it, because I'm not going to be completing the games 100%, so this is the only way you're going to see it as like this part of the event, so yeah. And as you can tell, that would require the green gem to unlock that phased out Death Path platform. Which, by the way, we pick up in the next level, Shark Attack. Actually, I think it's in another level. I think that level's in the third warp room, actually. But anyways, let's jump into level 9 Shark Attack, which is another underwater level. Yeah, it's definitely the next underwater level that we pick the green gem up in, because that level would actually start with, you know, that secret part that contains the green gem. Look, this is the one where they introduce the jellyfish. So yeah, like every underwater level in this game, they introduce a new type of enemy. So like the first one, they had like all the standard underwater enemies, such as the pufferfish, the sharks, plus, you know, the eels that pop in and out of the walls. And in this one, they introduced the jellyfish. And the funny thing is, like, you can kill them, but like, you can't kill them vertically, but you can kill them horizontally. Well, you can't kill them horizontally, but you can kill them vertically. See, just as demonstrated over there. Just as explained, as panned out over there. I think you can only take them out from underneath as well. But of course, like, the hitboxes are pretty fucked up, so it's not always worth the risk. It's always a risk killing those jellyfish. I remember last time when Dingo Crash was live streaming, well, Game Boy Advance games in general, and it was the first time he was actually playing Game Boy Advance games. He actually did sort of like a Game Boy Advance variety type of live stream. He was actually playing like a variety of Game Boy Advance games within that live stream, which he did way back in 2015, which is 10 years ago. And it was like, and the first game he played was Crash Bandicoot Excess, which is, well, technically he played the American version, Crash Bandicoot The Huge Adventure. But yeah, like, when he was playing that and he got up to this level, like, he was referring to them as dildos. He was like, oh, they look like dildos! Which is like, it was a funny interpretation, and also it's very typical of him to come up with that type of interpretation as well, for those of you who are familiar with his content. So yeah, like, there was a lot of information to cram into that, but fuck it. But yeah, in that live stream, that's how he interpreted it. What the fuck? I didn't even touch the fucking jellyfish. He taking the piss. Oh, here we go with the pity mask. You can thread the needle here. Okay, I've killed that jellyfish in the process. Okay, I blew up one of the mines in the process while I had invincibility frames. Okay, so as you can tell, with all the crates collected, I'm practically approaching the end of the level. That was close. Okay, now moving on to level 10 Ruined, the third jungle level in the game. Down191 says, I couldn't finish it, lol. Yeah, I presume you're talking about the GTA game on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, I'm not surprised. But yeah, he also agreed with the fact that it was Chinatown Wars on the DS. He says, yeah, Chinatown Wars. He says, this is one of the Crash games I haven't played alongside Crash Tag Team Racing. Okay, yeah, Crash Tag Team Racing is certainly a game I recommend playing. It was fun for like the concept. It was fun for what it brought to the table. It was an interesting premise how, like, you know, they combined both platforming and racing in the same game. On top of the fact that you can actually clash with another person's vehicle, with like another competitor's vehicle, and then like you become teammates for like that certain period of time. Or just like, or you just become teammates for like, or you both just immediately become teammates until one of you decides to part from each other. Just like completely disconnect. But yeah, almost made a fatal error in that jump just there. As you can see, this level was more deeper into the woods compared to the previous two jungle levels. Did I say woods or wards? Because it almost sounded like I said wards, but yeah, that's not even a fucking word. Alright, nitro crates. More traps. all these foreground assets as well, where they have like those vines hanging out. Oh yeah, also I autopiloted into like, you know, jumping over that enemy, and even though technically like those types of enemies from Crash 2 in this game, you can just piss easily spin them away, whereas like, and you still won't get destroyed, well, you still won't take damage from it or get pushed aside from it, whereas like if you did that in Crash 2, you actually get pushed aside from it, whether you play the original or the remake or the remaster, however you want to put it. Okay. But yeah, I was a pixel away from that crate, which explains why the first spin missed it. But yeah, pointless, cheap deaths, they happen. Okay, so we're pretty much approaching the point where like you would normally use the power-ups in order to get the blue gem. So yeah, from this point all the way to the left, in a very inconspicuous place, you actually require the double jump plus the death tornado spin in order to access a specific platform that's in a very inconspicuous place, which also contains the blue gem itself, which of course we can't access. But you can see the platform though, but it's just very far away. It's completely out of reach at this point because I don't have the power-ups required in order to get there. Although you at least get the double jump when you defeat Dr. Engine straight afterwards, as like the second boss fight in the game, but of course you require both. Okay, so here we are in the bonus round for level 10, and this is the bonus round I was talking about. Also, interestingly enough, there's like this kind of leftover asset where you see like this green Tetris block in the most random position of the screen. And no, this is not an emulate glitch, this is actually in the game itself, because like I witnessed this on the actual Game Boy Advance itself when I was playing the game on the actual cartridge. So yeah, I presume that was a developer oversight. It's something I never understood why it was there, but I understood how it could potentially be there. I understand the possibilities of it being there, but of course we'll never understand why it was there. Okay, so this is the point where like you're really gonna have to utilize the slide jump very precisely, so, and that is the prime example. Sometimes it kills your input when you jump, but this is why like when it comes to like slide jumping, you have to like, you know, you actually have to press jump like practically a split second after you initiate the slide, because then if you don't do that, then you won't be able to pull off the slide jump that is, you know, actually required in order to get yourself over to that next platform. And not only that, but like it kills your jump. Okay, that was close. There we go. It's really precise, but like it's possible to pull off, as demonstrated. Although of course the safe option would be to get the double jump after defeating Dr. Engine and then backtrack into this level, but you know, some people call it the coward's way out, some people call it playing it safe, but it is what it is. More power to you for playing the game the way you see fit. That was really close, the way I caught it there. The way I just caught the platform, it almost looked like I was about to miss it, but you know, it's a big risk to take. Okay, I made it. Okay, I overshot that jump, but fuck it. We move. I'm still having a chill time playing this game. Honestly, I'm actually glad I, you know, sort of threw myself back into doing these types of live streams, because like it just get content pumping out on my channel on top of that. And you know, since other things aren't panning out the way they're supposed to pan out in terms of like, you know, how life pans out in general, you can't focus, there's no point stressing out about what you can't control. Just focus on the positive aspects, focus on what you can control. And if I can at least get these live streams out of the way as well on top of that, it's less to think about, it's less to pile on top when it comes to future reference. So honestly, when it comes to like a live stream where like, you know, it's simple to do and you don't have to conceptualize as much in order to pull it off, then you might as well just like nip it in the bud and get it over and done with. So yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'm done conceptualizing the premise of these live streams. I already know what I want to do for them. All I need to do is put a plan into action, as I'm doing right now. So yeah, all we can do is just execute our plans, and then afterwards, the sooner you execute your plans, the sooner you can get on with life. I can't promise that everything is gonna 100% fall into place, because of course your mileage may vary, everyone's situation is different, but that's just part of life. We deal with whatever crosses our paths. Okay, now to fight the second boss fight, Dr. Engine. They don't really put the Doctor in their names in these Game Boy Advance games, but yeah. Yeah, this boss fight isn't too complex. All you gotta do is like destroy the turrets, just like you do in Crash 2 and 3. Just blow up the machinery. Yeah, these used to be complex to deal with, but not anymore. Yeah, you just scroll side to side. As you can see, they went for a more like type of, I wouldn't necessarily call like radioactive type of atmosphere, but more of a sunset type of atmosphere per se, when it comes to like this boss fight, or the entire premise of this boss fight. But yeah, just like that, we've unlocked the double jump power up. So yeah, push A in midair to jump higher, push start to continue. Man, this has been a lot of fun so far. And just like that, we're halfway through the game already. Since this game only has like 4 warp rooms, well, in terms of any percent completion, we're halfway through the game. But of course, to each their own.
Great job, Crash. I have half the crystals. Now bring me the rest of them so I can finish my machine. But be careful, Cortex is watching you.
Yeah, big surprise. He has everyone on a spectacle. He has everyone on a fucking spectacle at this point. He's literally looking down on everyone on this earth. Okay, now we're jumping into level 11 Snow Job, which, by the way, is a funny name for a level, not to mention subliminal. And yeah, I won't be pointing out what it is, but yeah. Talk about a phallic reference. Well, okay, there's another prime example of how like a slide jump can fuck up. Like it kills your jump input if you extend the slide for too long. That's precisely what happens, and as a result, a cheap death like that happens. But of course, now we sort of have like a double jump in order to pad our height, in order to extend Crash's height and also pad the height. You know what's funny, like these bears that we actually race against, well, that Crash runs away from in Crash 2, is actually an enemy that you can kill in the platforming sections of this level. It's kind of funny. It's funny how they reinterpret certain... It's actually funny how, you know, they reinterpret certain aspects of, you know, past games in like... in future games, and they reinterpret them as something else completely. Okay, this is the final snow level as well, so yeah. I'm gonna be really careful. Yeah, like I positioned myself like that on purpose in order to get the Yeti or the abominable snowman, or the abominable snowman, or whatever the fuck he's supposed to be. to destroy that crate that I missed. So yeah, like if you miss a crate, you got the abominable snowman to smash it for you. And also they brought back these fucking arches from Crash 1 and 2. Although like technically these ones are from Crash 2 because they're covered in snow. But okay. I made it past that one pretty neatly. Okay, ran through that one. Yeah, they're piss easy to actually hit because you don't always know what to expect. Ah, that was close. He was getting proper close. I have no Okaku mask here as well, so yeah, this one's a much tougher one. Although it's pretty sick how I still managed to make it past this one without even dying though. Honestly, I actually did better than expected. I did much better than I'd expect to do in this one, based on past experience. But yeah, a lot of this is purely based on past experiences. Okay, that was fucking cheap. I didn't even land underneath that. I landed right next to it and I still got fucking squished. Crash still got fucking squashed, even though I landed right next to the pillar, just smashing down. It's like, they're unforgiving when they pull shit like that. Okay, I was on the edge of the platform that time, but yeah, like, that's poor hitbox management when it comes to, like, implementing hitboxes in the game. I'm not sure whether it's to do with the game's engine, and I presume it's the same case in terms of, like, you know how fucked up it is to pull off the slide jumps in this game, but, you know. Okay, that was even more cheap. I legit slipped through a fucking gap. It's like, come on Crash, don't trip, get a grip. We gotta do this shit. We gotta put this shit into action. Yeah, it's to do with the way I landed. It's funny how you can skip certain sections, like when you know how to utilize certain mechanics as well, especially like the double jump. Alright, that's that bonus round complete. Okay, so Seldown191 says, yeah, I think this will be one of the next games I play. You probably posted that a little while ago, but yeah, like, I've been super immersed into this game, so to be fair, you couldn't put it past me at that rate. Alright, and we made it out with the gem on top of that. Yeah, sometimes it does take the piss when you don't, like, when it doesn't process some of the crates, just like in the PS1 games. But yeah, anyways, now moving on to Ace of Space. The first space level slash futuristic level of this game. Okay, so these levels are pretty much like a remix, or they're pretty much like a mixture of a reference. They're like a mixed reference to Crash 2 and 3 due to the fact that it utilizes assets from both the space levels plus the futuristic levels. It utilizes assets from both the space levels plus the futuristic levels. Hang on, like, yeah, due to the fact that it utilizes assets from both the space levels from Crash 2 plus the futuristic levels from Crash 3 as well. Also, here's like a funny aspect of game development that to drop here is something to, like, you know, sort of pay attention to a bit. You see the globe in the background. It's like they didn't even try, the developers didn't even try to hide the fact that they were cutting corners during the development process of this game. It's like, it's not even half the globe. Hell, it's not even a quarter of a globe, let alone half the globe. It's practically like, telling by like how much they used, it's practically like an 1/8 or a 1/10 of the globe that they used just to cut corners. Because, you know, like, they didn't want the Game Boy Advance tanking too much. I think they were just playing it safe as well. That's probably one of the reasons. It's a possibility. So they bring back enemies from Crash 2 and 3. So they have those spiked up enemies. Actually, those are from Crash 3. But like, they had the other ones from... But they have like other enemies from Crash 2 as well, which like, you know... It's not necessarily the tall ones, but it's the small ones that like... It's those like robot crabs from Crash 2 that they bring back. Oh, and they bring back those lab scientists in those like fucking... What do you call it? I want to say like UFO pods, but not really. But they kind of like UFO pods that... Those like UFO pods that generate that electricity that go... It's like, that's pure nostalgic. It was also a really funny sound effect to like, you know, witness back in the day as a kid. Hey Nicky Bats, cheers for stopping by. Cheers for popping into the live stream, he says. 800 followers, congrats on that. I really appreciate that, and on top of that, if you can tell by the stats, my Twitch channel has already hit 900 followers in addition. So yeah, this is another one of those overlap type of situations. But the reason why I'm still doing the 800 followers special celebration live stream event is because I have different plans for a 900 followers special. So yeah, I just want to make sure none of my good ideas, like none of my good plans get scrapped. So yeah, that's pretty much to ensure that none of my like concepts that have great potential get scrapped at any point. Alright, so that's that. But yeah, I appreciate it. Okay, so Seldown191 says, oh yeah, I meant to say congrats on 800 and soon for 1000. Yep, the 1k, the 1000 followers special celebration live stream will come up at some point as well. Sometime after I do a 900 followers special. Hopefully if there's no other overlap situation, then yeah. Man, gotta pray that this is the last one. Okay, so at this point, even though I haven't been save stating, I don't necessarily need to. Oh, that's nice, you can see Crash like getting out, like, what do you call it? Just a handheld device in general, handheld console that he just plays on for a limited amount of time. But yeah, I'm pretty much just... I haven't been save stating like throughout the... what do you call it? Throughout the entirety of the gameplay, and I don't necessarily need to because of the fact that I already know this game like pretty well. But at this point I'm only gonna save state for what do you call it? I'm only gonna save state for educational purposes, just to showcase something in this level. So there's a certain aspect which you can access, like the death path, but it's inaccessible at this point. Okay, so we can drop down here, and that's precisely why. So if I F1 that shit, a load state. So you gotta be really precise the way you land, and then when you trigger that, you can access, you pretty much like unlock all these crates that take you to this other path. So it is possible to get back, but you know, the reason why I decided to save state over here is so then I didn't have to like, you know, keep coming back to the same point from the checkpoint itself, just to like showcase this. Just to like, you know, save time. But when it comes to gameplay itself, I'm not going to utilize any more save states. Although of course, our mileage may vary. It is possible to get back up, as I've just demonstrated. But yeah, in order to access the death path, like there's a phase out death path platform below as well, which by the way, actually you know what, I think I'll save state here as well, so then I don't have to backtrack there as well. So shift F1 to save state, F1 to load state. So we can pretty much drop here in order to like catch that platform. Actually, you don't even need to jump, you can just like, yeah, you don't even need to jump when you drop down there, you can literally just like drop down seamlessly and then just hold right as you drop. And just like that I made it onto this platform. So yeah, it's an interesting aspect to sort of showcase. And then I can just come up through here. And also that's not the only way you can access that area. The third and final way you can access that area the non-conventional way is that you can legit just slip through this gap and then just like either land on one of those crates or the platform. But of course that was a bad example. But yeah. Fuck it, I'll just save state here. So yeah, the safest way to do that is to slip through the gap and then land on that crate. And then that's all there is to it. So yeah, that's all there is to showcase there really. But yeah, Life Hacks 101. Crash Bandicoot Access Life Hacks 101 people. I just figured I'd do that just for the fun of it. But of course, not everything goes to plan, but it is what it is. But after all, it was to be expected. Oh, that was really close. So the entirety of this livestream has actually been pretty chill, and also people, for those of you who are actually present earlier in the livestream, remember when I mentioned that, whoa, okay, I sort of glitched there. I glitched into that crate as I spun on my way up. It's like Crash sort of like clipped and phased right through it. But yeah, remember when I said that they reutilized, you know, crate templates from previous games within the Crash Bandicoot trilogy? This template right here is from level 16 Sphinxinator. This crate template right here is quite literally from the bonus round within level 16 Sphinxinator in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. In terms of like these crates, and also this one here is practically the exact same premise, but at the same time not really, because in Crash 3 right at the bottom there was a TNT crate placed there, whereas in this game I think they just replaced it with just a normal crate because they didn't want to, I don't know whether it's to do with the fact that, you know, they just wanted to cut down hazards per se in this game. But yeah, it's a possibility. We'll never know, but it's a possibility. I suppose we'll never know, but we can always speculate. I suppose we'll never know, but we can always speculate. Yeah, it's not always fun when you throw fucks up your commentary, but what the fuck ever. It is what it is. I'm still having fun doing this live stream. I certainly recommend playing through the Crash Bandicoot games on the Game Boy Advance, especially the early ones. I say the later ones, they're also fun as well, but they're more challenging. As in, like, they just offer bigger challenges. Well, it's not just bigger challenges, but like the way they control in terms of like their premises. Well, the premises that were introduced into those games, they're just, they're like, how do I put it? They're an adjustment to get used to. So yeah, it's just a case of adapting to them. Wait, what the fuck? Oh wait, that's right, yeah, like, not all the crates are in the main path in this level. They're in the death path, which actually takes you to a space bike section, which is actually really cool. And unfortunately, we won't be seeing that in this live stream. But I figured I'd at least show the entrance. I figured I'd at least, you know, showcase the entrance. But yeah, commentary, live commentary is not fun when you end up stuttering, but fuck it. But yeah, it's a really cool premise. But yeah, I was like, false alarm there. The second I clocked that there was no crates in the death path, the second I clocked that there were crates in the death path as well, it was like, okay, cool, we don't have to worry about that gen, because it's just an 80% playthrough and there are some in the death path. Okay, let's jump into level 13, Sunken City. Okay, so just like in the previous game, well, just like in the previous level, they've reutilized another crate concept, but at this point, in this level, they've actually reutilized the Red Gem Death Path concept from level 12 Deep Travel in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. So yeah, it's the same premise as level 12 Deep Trouble, but the only difference is, in that level it actually takes you to an actual death path. But in this case, as you can tell, it's literally just a corner section of the level with a green gem. And of course, this phased out crate here, we just backtrack after, triggering to this phase out crate here, we literally just backtrack after triggering an exclamation mark crate. Man, like, I can't even speak for shit right now. Man, it's a bit of a piss take, but you deal with it. But yeah, after you trigger an exclamation mark crate, you just backtrack to that TNT crate, to that crate that suddenly phases in as a TNT crate, and then you just blow it up. And thankfully, it's not such a long way away either. It's like, thank fuck for that. Okay, I gotta be really careful. Okay, so it doesn't even matter whether or not you get a checkpoint as well either, because the next checkpoint after this isn't far off either, and as you can tell, they've introduced squids as well, which by the way you can also kill. They always used to look like rockets to me as a kid, which in a way is not surprising because of the way they shaped them in this game. As pointed out before, as you can tell, that crate over there wasn't such a far reach. It wasn't such a stretch to get that. It wasn't such a stretch to reach that exclamation trait. Man, I can't even fucking talk for shit right now. But yeah, it wasn't such a far stretch in order to reach that exclamation mark crate, in order to trigger off. Just like that. Let's blow up this path. Honestly, it was an interesting premise to reuse, but of course they made it simpler to get the green gem as opposed to making a death path leading up to the red gem like they did in Crash 3. But of course I presume they did that in order to compensate for Game Boy Advance limitations in general, which it would make sense. Killed them both in one. Got a double kill underwater. Sunken City. Yeah, you can tell why this level is called Sunken City. Because I think in comparison to previous levels, this part actually has bits and pieces of it actually has proper ruins that are underneath, as in city ruins. Okay, yeah, we gotta be really careful here. The reason why I sort of gave it a bit of time is because you don't always know the cycles. Even though they operate on the cycle, you don't know whether or not. You just don't know where you're gonna be on the cycle whenever it comes to attacking the pufferfish. That's the thing. But yeah, as explained earlier, you can see plenty of city ruins underwater in this level in comparison to other previous levels, or in comparison to the previous two underwater levels, which would explain the name of the level. Or perhaps they did include underwater, or perhaps Or perhaps they did include underwater city ruins within the previous underwater levels, but I was just too caught up in gameplay, plus commentary in general. Okay, down the hole, here we go. Okay, yeah, that sounded pretty fucked up out of concept. That sounded pretty fucked up out of context, but yeah, let's jump into level 14 down the hole. Which, by the way, is the final jungle tribal ruins level. And they've included more, more hazards in this level which we're about to approach. Okay, what the fuck? I was gonna say, I almost forgot that, there wasn't a platform coming there. I was like, am I gonna have to wait a fucking century for a platform to turn up? Okay, let's take precaution here. But yeah, normally there would be a platform there, but hey the Scarecrow, welcome to the livestream, cheers for stopping by, he says morning. Welcome to my 800 followers special celebration livestream event. But yeah, the hazards are gonna pick up in this level, as you can tell. Oh, and speaking of which, here they are. We got these tribal ass motherfuckers spitting out poisonous darts out of these bamboo tubes. And trust me, they're more brutal. And trust me, they're more brutal than they appear. I'm just making it look piss easy. It's pretty fucked up because, if they hit you as you have no Akwaku mask, you get this explosion enemy. You get this explosion animation where Crash's body just explodes, but without an actual, well, not necessarily an explosion animation, but when Crash's body itself explodes. Or well, not even explode, it's more like a pop-in animation where it kind of pops in half per se. At least, that's one way to describe it. That's where the double jump comes in useful. But yeah, anyways, since I'm playing the Game Boy Advance games for this event, do you have any past experience with the Game Boy Advance in general, or either of the Crash Bandicoot games within the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance series per se? I remember this level being pretty hard, but of course now that I know now I pretty much know, well, I'd say sort of the blueprints of the level, but now that I sort of know I'm trying to think of the word that describes it the best, but okay, now that I had the invincibility, it didn't, as I had the invincibility while I was entering the bonus round, it didn't play that portal sound effect. It didn't play that portal entrance sound effect. Okay, that was close. Oh yeah, of course. Of course I'm not going to trigger that yet, because there's another crate that I have to destroy, and it's right here. Just when you thought you were only getting that crate, just to backtrack there, little did you know you had to wait to smash this crate below. Little did you know you had to smash that crate beneath that iron crate bridge before proceeding to actually, triggering off that exclamation mark crate. It's like Trickery Deceit 101. Okay, speaking of Trickery Deceit 101, that was bullshit. that right there is a prime example of a cheap death. It's like, what the fuck? So yeah, in practicality, it is a piss easy bonus round, but the way that happened was quite a piss take. It's stupid because I could have kept my invincibility as well, but no, the game just had other plans to fuck me over. It's like, come the fuck on. Also, there's, close to the end of the level, there's a hidden exclamation mark crate. Well, that shit almost hit me. See, that's precisely what I was talking about earlier on. Also, I could have dodged that as well, but you know, cheap shit happens. But yeah, always gotta watch out for these tribal motherfuckers because they just like... See, like, it's so... The cycles, I feel like they operate randomly. Okay, what the fuck is that exclamation mark crate? There was a nitro crate somewhere. There it is. Yeah, it was somewhere over here. I knew it. The way they put crates in inconspicuous places. They pull the same shit with Crash 4. They pulled the same shit with Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. So yeah, right at the end, that was quite a piss take. I could have done that unscathed, but fuck it. But yeah, at least it demonstrates that animation, which, you know, it didn't need to be demonstrated, but, you know, shit happens. Anyways, Blimp Bonanza. Let's jump in. Oh, this is the one where they actually introduced those fucking fireworks. It just makes the level even harder. Although I do like the color gradient of, like, you know, the background of the sky. I do like, you know, this type of skybox gradient for like the background image that they put in place. It has sort of like a retro synthwave vibe per se. Because like these are typically the type of colors that, like, you know, a retro synthwave would utilize. There are those rockets those fireworks rockets that pop up. It's so fucking stupid because, like, it's piss easy to miss crates because of how far apart they're spread out, and on top of that, you got to take into account all the obstacles and enemies that cross your path. It's interesting how, like, the top part is literally just space. It's interesting how, like, they simulate space right at the top by putting a bunch of white pixels on top of a black background plus a picture of a moon. It's like probably like a PNG or a JPG of a moon, or JPEG, however the fuck you want to call it. But yeah, it's interesting how, like, they simulate certain aspects of scenery in order to compensate for set hardware architecture. Yeah, because especially with the limits of this hardware architecture, they're pretty low. On top of that, you can actually tell, because then you can see Game Boy Advance games sort of tanking in a way. Like, you know, the second you see way too much popping up on screen. And that's very noticeable in later Game Boy Advance releases on top of that. It's like, you actually witness actual gameplay slowing down in general. So yeah, that happens on the actual Game Boy Advance plus the emulator itself, because of course the emulator is only just replicating the actual set hardware that it's purely based on. Shoot these fuckers. glimpse. Yeah, the rockets are sort of, what do you call it? Yeah, the rockets do get in the way, but you can actually shoot them yourself if you position yourself correctly. But I have to admit, this was an interesting concept that they've implemented. Yeah, there's only 3 of these types of levels in this game. There's another one in the final warp room. There's another one in the 4th and final warp room that's upcoming shortly enough. Oh great, now I'm gonna have to kill myself because of the fucking... because I missed a crate, even though I'm not going for 100%. Still. It's so stupid though, how you can piss easily miss a crate, and... because there's way too much shit on screen. Yeah, just get it over and done with. Fuck it. Yeah. Man, fucking... the precautions you take to commit suicide just because you miss a crate. It's fucking crazy. But here we fucking go again, like seriously. By the way, yeah, the reason why I'm not going to those crates is because... wait, I can speed up the emulator. There we go. Hang on, wait a second. There we go. Wait, let me just pause and get back to... there we go. Let me just get back to the proper screen. Yeah, I had to get back to the proper window in order to play this properly. Yeah, because like, I'm not gonna waste that much time just to like restart a certain sequence. There's no fucking point. Although, like, here's a fun fact, even though Visual Game Boy Advance doesn't actually function globally, I'm pretty much, like, sort of using, like, a Windows 10 type of life hack, per se, and it's pretty much like a taskbar life hack that you can pull off, where you can just, even though you can treat an application like it's running in the background, but, like, you hover over another application that uses... that pretty much like uses the screen of that application as like a, I wouldn't say periscope, but like as like a, what you call it, as like another viewing angle for it. Because as you can see, OBS is currently capturing it, and Visual Boy Advance only, it doesn't operate globally, as in like you can't like, you know, play the game if you're like, if you clicked off from the emulator. Well, technically, I still have Visual Boy Advance running over the foreground, but then when you hover over a program like OBS Studio, which I'm doing right now, I'm actually hovering the cursor over that window, that particular window on the taskbar, and then I'm playing the game as I'm viewing it on OBS. So yeah, like that, I can actually play the game and sort of monitor the stats of the live stream, which is pretty neat. So yeah, I presume you can do the same thing on Windows 11, but you know, it is what it is. Alright, let's jump into the third boss fight, Tiny Tiger. This one's piss easy. What the fuck? And of course he dies for no reason, by failing to execute a double jump. It's like, come the fuck off it. But yeah, no, it is actually piss easy. to defeat Tiny Tiger in this boss fight. Literally all you're doing is just avoiding his jumps. It's the exact same shit you do in Crash 3. Okay, I jumped the wrong way, but fuck it. Okay, like, I don't know what the fuck that was all about. There we go. Okay, just 1 hit point left. This boss fight really isn't that hard. I don't understand why I died like 3 times in it. It's fucking stupid. Okay, here we are. Just like that, we've unlocked the Death Tornado power-up. Okay, just like that, we've unlocked the Death Tornado spin power-up. Push B repeatedly to spin longer and temporarily float. Press start to continue. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much the last time we play through. Well, it's the last time we transition to another warp room, so yeah. Let's progress.
Cortex, I knew this would happen. Crash has defeated 3 of your stooges. He must be stopped. I will not tolerate another failure.
Luca, I'm sorry. However, do not be overly concerned. My planetary minimizer will stop him.
Okay, here we go. The 4th and final warp room. I'm starting off with level 16, start to finish. So yeah, not long left till the livestream finishes. Yo, Nico Croft, cheers for stopping by. Welcome to the livestream. Welcome to my 800 followers special celebration livestream. Well, the first livestream of this livestream series event that I have planned. But yeah, he says, hi there, cheers for stopping by. I remember you were livestreaming Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy the last time I stopped by one of your livestreams and all, so yeah. Now here you are watching me play through the Game Boy Advance versions. Well, here you are seeing me playing through all the Game Boy Advance games within the franchise. Although, like, I'll be doing one of them per live stream in order to, like, you know, spread it out. He says, yeah, glad to see you playing some Crash. Likewise with yourself, bro. Likewise with yourself. Honestly, it's always great to be playing Crash. And he has, like, a Crash dance emoji and all, which is pretty dope. Okay, so soon I'm gonna be having lunch. Yeah, I figured that was your own Crash Bandicoot dance emote. Just Nico CR10 Crash Dance. Alright, so back to business. Now for the final warp room. There are 2 space levels as well. Well, there's 2 futuristic space levels in this warp room as well. So yeah, let's jump right in. Okay, now for the first futuristic space level of the final warp room. This warp room is the culmination of the game, plus the culmination of this live stream. Okay, hopefully we'll encounter little to no piss takes. So yeah, at this point in time, we actually have little to no, what do you call it? I actually literally forgot what I was going to say just then. But yeah, we have a Death Tornado at this point right now. But yeah, hopefully we'll have little to no piss takes at this point in time. I think that was meant to say, but what the fuck ever. That Wumpa Fruit placement though, it's like, it's piss easy to spin them away like that. Oh, and this enemy right here, those robot crab enemies, they pulled them out from Crash 2, just like, you know, as explained earlier, but they didn't feature them in the previous space level, aka the first one, within the game. See, it's so stupid, man. It's fucking stupid, like, the cycles in this game. It's like, yeah, they operate on the cycle, but, like, it's unpredictable because I don't know, it feels like they're different every single time you approach them. I don't know whether or not it's just me, but that's what it feels like. Oh yeah, and as you can see over here, they've actually reutilized the bonus round crate template from level 19 Future Frenzy within Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. It was from that exact same bonus round within that specific level. And then they reutilized this part from the actual level itself, where you actually, you know, backtrack to a crate, where you actually backtrack after, you know, actually it's from a later level, it's from, they also reutilized, you know, that crate level template from level 21 Gone Tomorrow, where you trigger off an exclamation mark crate within the death path and then backtrack, well not necessarily backtrack, but like, you know, the platform, well, the end platform from that green gem death path actually, what you call it takes you back to an earlier point of the level, and then you just replay that entire section of the level as well. Also like, to top it off, they've actually also reutilized this concept right here from the bonus round. They actually reutilized this template concept right here from, what you call it, from the actual bonus round within, what you call it, the actual bonus round. They reutilized this entire crate template from within the bonus round from level 23 Flaming Passion within Crash 3, where like they put fucking nitro crates on top of like a fucking, they put 3 nitro crates above a fucking iron spring crate, which is like, you know, a recipe for suicide. Man, like, it took me a bit of a while to get it out, but like, you know what live commentary is like, just fuck shit up. Nico Croft says, the graphics are actually very nice for a GBA game, yet they actually look pretty good. In a way, they actually did a good job sort of, you know, reutilizing, you know, samples from Crash. It's interesting how like, they did a good job in terms of like, you know, sampling the original assets from the original Crash Bandicoot games on the PS1. And on top of that, I think the emulator is sort of like helping its case over here, because I'm actually playing with a high quality filter on the emulator as well, which it pretty much presents the games the best way the emulator could possibly present it at. And this is an emulator where its final version had its final release in 2005, so yeah, this emulator is... So I apologise for that, stomach was growling like a bitch, had to mute the mic. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, the final version of this emulator is actually 20 years old this year, which is a bit of a shock. Yeah, I am partially exhausted as well, but you know, I'm still having fun with this live stream. This was fun to play on the actual Game Boy Advance as well. Also, speaking of which, do you happen to have any personal nostalgia with... Speaking of which, do you actually happen to have any personal nostalgia with any of the Game Boy Advance games within the Crash Bandicoot franchise, or even the Game Boy Advance itself in its entirety? If so, then feel free to point it out. Okay, so over here is where they hide the red gem. So they treat this as like a death path in order to get the red gem. And yeah, you gotta like, you know, proper time your jumps carefully here, so then you don't get fucked over. And also the exit portal is not that far away. You can use the death tornado spin in order to like help your case. in order to, like, you know, get yourself safely across. And you can technically glide across with a Death Tornado spin as well, as you're utilizing the double jump. But, you know, to each their own. But I'm just, like, playing the game this way just for the fun of it. Plus for showcase purposes. There we fucking go. Okay, gotta be careful for these fucking enemies, because it's piss easy to trip over them when they fuck you over at the last minute. Yeah, or even at the last split second for that matter. Okay, here we go, we made it past that level. And we picked up a red gem in the process. Alright. Moving on to air supply. The final level, well, not the final level, but the final underwater level within the game itself. The final underwater level within Crash Bandicoot Excess. Okay, so Nico Croft says, I've actually never had a GBA myself, went straight from the Game Boy Color to the Nintendo DS, haha. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past you, since the Nintendo DS was a definite step up from the Game Boy itself. And on top of that, the DS was actually, on top of that, the Nintendo DS was actually backwards compatible with Game Boy Advance games anyway, so yeah, especially for that reason I wouldn't put it past you. Oh yeah, and in this level they actually introduced the electric keels. Yeah man, a fucking cycle took the piss, like... Okay, come on, don't take the piss. Fucking hell. I don't know if anyone has clocked this, but there's just like one grey dot just in the middle of the screen out of nowhere. Then again, I don't know whether or not that was developer oversight, but it's a possibility. But there's just that one pixel over there. I don't know if you guys can clock it, but like, it's so close to the corner of that terrain there. I had to take precaution. Yeah, because that first electric eel was a fucking bitch with its cycles of electricity that it produces. But the rest are kinda calm. Well, they're the odd ones that do take the piss. So yeah, they brought back the electric eels from Crash 2 in an underwater level. Although, in a way, I don't even know how that's even supposed to work. Because water and electricity don't go together. And if that's the case, then wouldn't the whole ocean get electrocuted, or is that not how it works? I presume that's... If that's the case, then like, electric eels aren't really, you know... If that's the case, then I presume then electric eels aren't even allowed to be dropped inside the ocean, otherwise everyone's fucked. Like, all the fish are fucked and all the divers are fucked. In that scenario, all the fish are fucked and all the scuba divers are fucked. That is so fucking cheap. Did wait a bit of time, but fuck it. I have to admit I am taking some risks here, but fuck it. That was so fucking cheap, man. Like, I admit I spun quite early, but the timing of the way that happened though, that was so fucking cheap. I know I don't need to kill these electric eels, but fuck it. It was so cheap the way that happened though. These actually... Okay, I got killed by nothing at that point. What the fuck was that all about? I wasn't even touching that fucking eel that came out of the wall. That's such a piss take. You can tell that these hitboxes are way off base. These enemy hitboxes are completely fucked up. Like, that made no sense whatsoever. That made no logical, practical sense whatsoever. And that was just a case of shit timing. And, well, hey, we got a fucking pity mask. What the fuck do you know? But you know what? Fuck that eel. Killed those cunts. He wasn't even fucking he wasn't even producing electricity at the time, for fuck's sake. How the fuck did I even copper death from that one? That made no fucking sense whatsoever. You see? At that point wasn't even producing electricity either, so I don't get how the fuck I even got electrocuted, let alone why the fuck I got electrocuted. An electrocule plus a squid. It just gets better and better. The piss takes just keep on coming. Okay, that was close. Two squids at the same place at the same time. Man, they just really want to fuck over the player, but like, they pull all this... Seriously man, it's like, they pull all this trickery, deceit type bullshit all over the fucking place. Yeah, it's not always worth spinning every crate if it's that close to a fucking TNT crate, and you don't even have that much space in between yourself plus the terrain. Okay, I'm not triggering that exclamation mark crate yet because there's a life over here. That I already knew in advance. Pun partially intended. But yeah, I knew that a step ahead of time. Well, plus like, it's partial muscle memory as well. I don't know why the fuck I almost ended up saying muscle memory just then. It's not even a fucking word. Yeah, electrocute. Anytime now, you fucking cunt. I'm gonna say like anytime now, and then he just fucking started producing electricity at such a fucking random time. But yeah, I feel like those electricity cycles are just fucking random. I don't feel like they even operate on a cycle. It's probably just RNG unless, you know, I haven't played this game enough. Unless, you know, I haven't, you know, de-rusted on this game enough in the past in order to, like, know exactly how it works to that potential extent. There we go, prick. Alright, that's the final underwater level complete. We're out of that fucking hellhole. Okay, now let's jump into the final jetpack level, no fly zone. Yeah, it's safe to call it a jetpack level. Okay, now we have sunset vibes in this level, especially with a crescent moon in the background, on the top left corner. Yeah, it's fucked up when they put the crates in the most stupidest places possible. It's cool you can roll to the side as well, like just as like a backup precaution. Okay, smash that crate any time now, I was gonna fucking say. He was proper taking his sweet time. It's only a matter of time though. Although conveniently enough, you can actually fly into the actual crates themselves without taking damage, and like it will still break the crates, but like of course flying into the nitro crates will obviously do you a great deal of damage. This blimp is a bit of a cunt. Also, you don't want to go beneath it, otherwise it'll start using another turret in order to shoot you in much quicker succession. Because before because initially they just use a rocket launcher in order to take you out. I'm down to 16% health, fuck this shit. It's a good thing they provided health balloons at this point in the level. Like right after the second checkpoint, because let's face it, they knew people were gonna need it. They predicted that shit ahead of the time. They manifested it. At that point in the game, they actually fought the players. They actually thought, you know what, let's cut the player a break. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They've been through enough bullshit, especially with the electric eels in the previous level. Plus, they know they're gonna get fucked over later on, so they might as well get all the help they can get, so it is what it is. I find it funny how some of these planes are just like, you know, flying away, and they just fucking gave up after taking a few shots. Okay, I have a feeling this is not gonna go well. I fucking knew it. Even though I got a checkpoint, but fuck it. That was a piss take to deal with, but fuck it. Okay, we've got to take some proper precaution here. But yeah, chat, I'll get to your comments in a bit. It will just take a bit of time. Okay, this is the final part of the level. Yeah, they really upped the ante with these levels. Perfect, 100% health, that's exactly what I need. Oh no wait, no new comments have posted. No new comments have been posted since then. I just clocked it on my phone. Okay, that should be the end of that. Okay, just 2 more levels to go. Alright, now for the penultimate level, drip drip drip. AKA the final sewer level within the game. Although I have to say, like, building on the premise that I brought up earlier about how Vicarious Visions have actually, you know, reutilized assets from, you know, the PS1 games. Oh yeah. More on that later, because this bonus round actually takes some precision to do. Like, it's not hard to complete, but like, you gotta be really precise with your moves in this one. But yeah, the rest of the level, I have to say, is actually pretty chill. But this bonus round, depending on how everything pans out, it can proper take the piss. But yeah, I always go for like all the top sections personally myself. I always personally go for the top sections myself because like you just get a lot more out of them. That was really close. Yeah, just double checking there's nothing there. But yeah, this is the point where you have to be really precise. Don't even trigger this exclamation mark crate yet. They pull some next trickery deceit bullshit. Although, at least on the positive, you can use the Death Tornado spin while you're in midair. Although, what's so fucking stupid is that I don't understand how it didn't generate that high of a jump when I actually double jumped. I get it's all timing and everything, but like, I swear I applied the appropriate pressure on the jump button. I could have sworn I've applied the appropriate amount of pressure on the jump button, but fuck it. You know what it's like. Games sometimes like to take the piss, even though you press the correct button combos. Okay, that was fucking stupid. That was immediate fuck up. That was an instant throw right there. Fuck that shit. Yep, you always have to be precise with that shit. Okay, let's see how it pans out this time. See, it fucked up the double jump again, like... It fucked up the combination again. See, that's precisely why, like, I didn't want to get into another topic while I was doing this bonus round. Like, I just, you know... This really takes some concentration. It's funny because I pulled that off multiple times as well without fucking up as well, so like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's like the live streamer's curse is taking place, but then again, it's not like there hasn't been a recurring thing within previous live streams, so... In a way, it's to be expected. Okay, just smash that fucking crate, like... I don't know why the fuck you're taking the piss wasting so much time for. I fucking knew you can make that. Okay, that was stupid. Because you don't necessarily need the top crates in order to get there. Because you're saving yourself crates on the way back. That's the whole point. But of course, if the game decides to take the piss and waste time, and pad the whole length of the livestream in the process, then that's not really in your control. Alright. Yeah, that's another way to execute it. That's another way to pull it off. What the fuck? Come on, man. You pulled it off perfectly last time, or at least almost perfectly last time. I don't know what your fucking deal is. Yeah, some pure precision here. But yeah, that is actually a much better way to pull it off. Of course you run the risk of getting blown up if you land on top of the fucking TNT crate or nitro crate, but of course your mileage may vary. You see? There we go. Even though that first crate was wasted back there, but fuck it. So yeah, there's nothing else to really like go for, but yeah. Okay, that was stupid. Okay, I know that crate was for up there, but fuck it. Yeah, sometimes like it's just not in your control. The bonus rounds in Crash games, they're not generally hard, but this one does take the piss. I mean, I put it down to atrocious Game Boy Advance physics. Or, not even Game Boy Advance physics, I put it down to the Game Boy. I put it down to the game engine's physics themselves. And the way they operate. Because, you know, they do have a tendency of fucking shit up. Okay, you wanna play it like that? Okay, fuck you then. TNT crate doesn't want to cooperate. Here we fucking go again, fucking up simple shit. It's like, come on, man. Like, come the fuck on. But yeah, it's only a matter of time now, people. It's only a matter of time. Okay, what the fuck? Okay, that was an overshoot, but the way I lost the mask there though, that's some unanticipated bullshit. Okay, all in good time, people, all in good time. Okay, that was a good pick up there. Okay, that was a much better execution. Okay, well that takes care of that crate. I'll be back for that. Also, interestingly enough, I didn't really point this out earlier, but yeah, over here, like, you can sort of tell that they've reutilized the bonus round crate template from level 22 Moida within Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Yeah, I clocked that, but like, I don't know, I just didn't really... I wouldn't necessarily say I didn't really have the energy to point it out, like, I sort of didn't have like the focus to point it out per se. And the other two crates are understandably nitro crates, so I can let that pass. They'll get caught up in the nitro crate explosion. They'll get caught up in the nitro crate detonation explosion. It's gonna say, yeah, these enemies have their own specific stopping points. Now, as I was saying about like how, how Vicarious Visions utilize assets from the PS1 games in order to make this, it's interesting how they did that in order to put that all together, and even more interestingly enough, like people can actually, I won't put it past anyone to make a fan game out of PS1 assets to remake this game, but for like, or even like the Game Boy Advance games in general, for like, you know, more powerful hardware. Say as in like, make a higher quality version of this game, but not make it for the Game Boy Advance, but make it for the PC. As in like, sort of like a remaster, but at the same time like, a complete rebuild of the game. But with like, the PlayStation 1 assets in their raw quality, not even that, but like, the assets themselves and like, not just their raw quality, but like, you know, just have them like natively upscale within a modern game engine in order to like, you know, make a modern remake of these games. Of course, still maintain the same type of gameplay in order to like, of course, still like maintain the same type of 2D atmosphere in order to make it clear that it's a remaster. But of course, it'd be an interesting concept to put into place, especially with all these fan games that are taking place. I mean, now that we have fan games such as Crash Bandicoot Back in Time and Crash Bandicoot Respawn, it's possible. It's certainly a possibility. So yeah, this is pretty much the aftermath of fan games. This is pretty much like the aftermath of modern fan games taking place. It's pretty cool. I don't know what everyone else's take is on that, but I personally reckon that's a really interesting concept to put into place. Okay, we've completed this level 100% now for the final level before the final boss fight. The final countdown. And yes, I know what some of you are gonna reference. Actually, not a number of you are gonna reference, but fuck it. But anyways, level 20, final countdown. By the way, the masks are really important in this level, so I'm gonna make sure I keep them. Therefore, I can save myself as much time as possible. And yeah, as you can see before, the invincibility masks actually destroy all this fucking... actually destroy a lot of obstacles. So any level's obstacle that crosses your path, the Akwaku mask, the triple Akwaku mask can destroy it. It will just pulverize it. Okay, that was actually a good run of fucking shit up with the triple Akwaku mask. This is precisely why I wanted to keep my Akwaku masks. Okay, not at this point in particular, but there's another point where there's like a part where you have to crouch underneath a whole line of nitro crates, or a whole row of nitro crates, but that other part actually has a life crate above it. And utilizing this Akwaku mask would actually save me from having to backtrack for the entire level just to get there. Okay, so it's only a matter of time. Okay, this is precisely what I was talking about. I'm gonna use this Akwaku mask in order to destroy that row of nitro crates, so then I can just pick up that life crate and then not have to backtrack through the entire level just to, after spinning the nitro crate, after the nitro detonator crate, just like come back and get that life crate. Cause that's a fucking piss take. Okay, that's gonna blow that up. Oh yeah, and of course this level contains the yellow gem or the gold gem, which is up top. Which, by the way, is pretty simple to get. All you need is to use the Death Tornado spin as you're double jumping. You can either use that spinning disc, or you can just piss easily get up there just by doing a slide jump plus a double jump in the process. Simply enough, we just picked up the gold gem, or the yellow gem, debatably. I'm just gonna do this for fun. It's interesting how, like, whenever you body slam in close proximity to these, like, spinning trampoline discs or whatever the fuck they're called, like these, they look like air vents in a way, but yeah, if you actually super body slam in close proximity to them, you get shot up by them anyway. As if you, because technically, like, it treats it as if you've interacted with a hitbox. At least that's how I think it works in this game's engine. I don't exactly know, like, the depths of those mechanics when it comes to this game in particular. Oh yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, actually yeah, I think I do remember correctly, the nitro crate, exclamation mark, detonator crate is actually present in this bonus round. So then, after you exit this bonus round, it actually, all the nitro crates are automatically detonated, and on top of that, like, when you exit this bonus round, like, after you've actually, you know, triggered that nitro crate detonator, it actually plays, like, pretty much a broken version. Well, like, I say a broken version, but it plays like practically half of the nitro crate explosion sound effect as you, like, re-enter the main level after completing this bonus round. Speaking of which, like, I don't think I've even mentioned this before, but yeah, they use this type of music for the bonus rounds. And I'm gonna be honest, like, it's interesting how they decided to, like, use a different type of track for the bonus rounds as opposed to, like, remixing the main theme, although, like, it feels more conventional to have, like, you know, for the bonus round music, it actually feels more conventional for the bonus round music to actually have, like, a remix of the main theme as opposed to, like, this type of theme tune, because to me personally this feels more like a type of special stage or, like, minigame type of track. Okay, that another prime example of how a slide jump can fuck up in the Game Boy Advance versions of Crash Bandicoot, well, in the Game Boy Advance releases of Crash Bandicoot. Okay, well, that fucked up. But nah, it's all calm. Like, we're approaching the culmination of the game anyway, so, like, I'm not too fucked about it, to be fair. I'm not too fussed. So yeah, speaking of which, this game actually, well, not this game, but this track sort of feels like it's fitting for, like, a minigame, like a special stage or a minigame type of level or type of premise taking place. That's a better way to put it. Yeah, I think these crates were utilized from some of the... Actually, yeah, now that I look back retrospectively, this part right here was actually, these were level crate templates from the level 21 Future Frenzy. Well, actually these crate templates were from the level 21 Gone Tomorrow bonus round. Like, I recognize the shapes of them. I pretty much like recognize the shapes of these layouts, and I remember sort of like recognizing them as I was playing them, like for the first time on the Game Boy Advance as well. I was like, my first thoughts was like, this looks familiar. And when I go back to play Crash 3, I was like, I figured that's where I was. And then when I go back to play Crash 3, I was pretty much like, I figured that's where that was from. It's interesting because Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time does the exact same thing with bonus round template crates. Yeah, it's interesting because Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time does the exact same thing with bonus round template crates. It pulls the exact same shit. And yeah, I was correct, this was the bonus round that did have that Nitro crate detonator switch box. Alright, so let's get the fuck out the bonus round. And yep, I clocked it. The second you exit the bonus round, you actually... The second you exit the bonus round, like, what you call it, the game actually plays the Nitro Crate explosion sound effect because of the fact that, you know, the trigger takes place as like you exit the bonus round if you actually triggered it within the bonus round. Okay, stop wasting lives. You're taking the piss now. It's interesting because like it plays it every time, and on top of that, it's interesting because it plays that every time, and on top of that, it's even more interesting how the bonus rounds utilize completed bonus rounds as checkpoints themselves. Okay, now moving on to Dr. Neo Cortex, the final boss fight. So yeah, it's interesting, you know, it's very interesting. It's interesting how they put that in place, but yeah. So we've completed all the levels, now for the final boss fight. Now this boss fight, the premise of it is actually piss easy. All you do is avoid Cortex's shots, and then make sure Cortex actually shoots the gems that are present. So there's just 3 gems that it shoots. There's a red gem, a green gem, and a yellow gem. So yeah, the second it charges up, and then you clock it, you just jump away the second the target just locks. He changes his shooting pattern for every phase, or at least every time he shoots a gem. So yeah, first phase done, phase 2 almost complete. Yeah, this final phase he just shoots all over the place. It's pretty piss easy, this bonus round. I mean, this boss fight. What the fuck? I jumped in time. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but that does tend to happen though. Sometimes it doesn't register your input in time and it's too late, you're already fucking dead. The blaster ray already kills you. But yeah, it's not a hard boss fight. The premise is piss easy. Okay, I don't know what the fuck happened there. Okay, that was cheap. It looks like the emulator just had a habit of fucking shit up. Well, not just the emulator, but the game's engine, per se. Fucking hell. It's like now when I jump too early, just... It's like when you jump too early that the target just moves. After me, it was pretty cheap the way I died just then, but fuck it. Alright, there we go. All done. Fucking hell, I jumped out the way again. What is this? What the fuck is this game's deal? Okay. It's gotta be it. There we fucking go again. I mean, this is not hard, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's like, the most cheapest shit is happening right now. Like, the second I get to the final boss, the game just wants to fucking take the piss. Well, it's been taking the piss in different ways previously, but I don't know what the fuck it's trying to achieve here. Okay, this has gotta be it. Well, come the fuck on! I pressed the jump button in time. That's so stupid. Yeah, see, now that I do it early, it just fucks me about. Yay, pity mask, because that's exactly what we need. It's fucking stupid. Unfortunately, that's not going to help the case, because you're going to take damage instead of a fucking gem just killing you. Instead, you're going to take damage instead of the gem getting pulverized. Hey Dark Lizard, welcome to the live stream, cheers for stopping by. He says it's not gonna be it. Just trolling in the comment section. But yeah, anyways, welcome to the first live stream as part of my 800 followers special celebration live stream series event. And yeah, this one is certainly coming to a close shortly. He says, thank you, you're gonna play Crash Bash? Not in this live stream, but yeah, potentially in another live stream. Alright. Okay. You see, like, I have the timings on, but I don't even usually, like, have this much trouble in this boss fight, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. But yeah, anyways. Come on, don't take the fucking piss. There we fucking go! Finally! Started putting your shit together. See, this is what happens. Get your act together properly, then we'll talk, then we'll get results. Okay, so, Turbo Run. Actually, yeah, well, that'll certainly be a part of it. Okay, so, the speed shoes, which they call it a Turbo Run in this game. So yeah, hold L for a burst of speed, push start to continue. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the culmination of this live stream, and yep, it's pretty much just like an 80% playthrough of this game, which, you know, was the initial plan, or part of the initial plan anyway. So yeah, more on the plan later on.
You fool! It will take me forever to fix this mess.
So yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. Crash just rides that space bike, which is pretty dope. I like how they imported, you know, that asset. I like how they imported the save load screen or the load save screen from the Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped Warp and put it inside the actual, they put it inside Crash's house within like the Crash 3 intro scene. It's a nice way to reinterpret it.
Super, you got all the crystals. Let's hope there's enough power in these to reverse Cortex's dirty work.
Those are pretty cool shots. There's 6 shots of like the globe and Minimizer getting destroyed, which is basically, you know, It's basically the space station from Crash 2, well, Crash 1 and 2, but Crash 2 it's actually mentioned predominantly. Yeah, you get a picture. Crash, you've done well, but Cortex is still a threat to us. As his space station and planetary minimizer have not yet been destroyed, you must go back and retrieve the gems and relics from each location. Okay, now cue the credits, people. It's interesting how they remixed the Crash Team Racing theme tune for the credits roll theme of this game. Interesting choice of remix for the credits roll theme tune. But yeah, we get a picture. So yeah, Dark Lizard says 1000 followers special has to be. Interestingly enough, I actually plan to play like all 5 PS1 games within the 1000 followers special, so yeah, Crash Bash will definitely be a part of that livestream. As for the 900 followers special celebration livestream event, I plan to play all the Nintendo DS games, which I plan to do as separate livestreams as well. Just like keep things organized, keep things like low pressure and all that. But you know, when it comes to the PS1 games, like I play them more predominantly, so like it just makes more sense to like, you know, split up the Nintendo games, or just like split up all the games that are into separate live streams that are not like, you know, PS1 games. But of course it depends how it pans out. He says GG, he says yeah, we get the picture. CTR theme is kinda chill, yeah, it's proper chill. He also says not aggressive like Bash or Crash 3. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, cause Crash 3 and Crash Bash, they proper go hard with their tracks. They're still pretty cool though, not gonna lie. Although, by the way, the credits theme for this game is actually not really, you know, like, it doesn't really transition into anything, but like, it doesn't transition automatically, because like, it just loops. But, and you'll see the loop point the second you'll see developed by Vicarious Visions, because that's when it starts. Speaking of which, speaking of the devil, here it is popping up, developed by Vicarious Visions. Okay, so that will be that. And if I skip it, it'll take me straight to the warp room. Okay. It's interesting the decisions that they made, but you know. Okay, so that'll be the end of that. Okay, so I've pretty much done everything that I've planned to do. It's interesting how you can just like, you know, go up and down across like these warp rooms. It's like interesting level design, or interesting warp room design on top of that. Like our Dark Lizard is like, there isn't 25 levels. Yeah, this game only has 4 warp rooms. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, there's a bit to get into. Hey Rob, cheers for stopping by, and speaking of which, the livestream is soon about to come to an end, so I might just look for someone to raid at this point, but as we're here, like, I'll give it a bit of airtime. So yeah, cheers for stopping by, Rob. Says, hey, congrats on the milestone. Yeah, even though this is like, sort of an overlap type of milestone event, but yeah, I appreciate you stopping by. So yeah, I'll look for someone to raid. I don't know whether or not, I think there's going to be a low chance that someone else is going to be playing this game, but fuck it. Here, Dark Lizard says, where's Entropy? Yeah, I know, I guess. Well, Entropy is in Entranced, so that's the sequel to this game, which by the way I can't wait to play. I'm glad I started this as well because like it just gets a lot of stuff out of the way. But anyways, since this is Nintendo we're talking about, what does everyone make of the Nintendo Switch 2? Here's my 2 cents on it. The Switch 2, I reckon, I like the design premise of it, and I like what it has to offer. It's cool that it's got like mouse controls and backwards compatibility with Nintendo Switch games, with like Switch 1 games. But like, the only thing that takes the piss about that is that they said it's only backwards compatible with a certain amount of Nintendo Switch games, which in a way is a bit of a put off. But I like the premise of the Switch 2. I like how you can like, they introduce a lot of new things, such as like mouse controls with the Joy-Cons and all that. Plus the fact that you basically have Discord for the console now. Like it has its own version of Discord called Game Chat, and you can use it within games and all that. And then there's this like this camera peripheral that, yeah, there's this like camera peripheral that you can purchase, which in a way is more money, but the price point is pretty fucked up. And I'll get more on that in a bit, but yeah. But anyways, about the games themselves, especially when it came to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, I like all the content that it has to offer. I like all the games that were announced, such as Mario Kart World. It's got like all these new premises like rail grinding, wall riding and all that. And there's even like this whole drive-through premise, which you can like unlock different outfits and all this shit. And the fact that there's the whole, you know, free roaming section, even though like, so like you can drive on-road, off-road and all that, which is pretty dope. But interestingly enough, like they did that in CTR, but it's not the exact same thing. And 24 race positions as well, that's a whole different level. I'm not expecting that, but I presume that accounts for a lot of online players. Not only that, but like capabilities. I think the capabilities of the Switch 2 have kind of like been extended. They've been like expanded in comparison to the Switch 1. On top of that, the Nintendo Switch 2 is Nintendo's very first console to natively support 4K resolution. So yeah, that's pretty, what you call it? So yeah, that's groundbreaking for Nintendo, but they're practically 2 generations behind on that. Because, of course, Sony has already done that with the PlayStation 4 Pro to start with, and Microsoft have already done that with the Xbox One X to start with. And I also like Donkey Kong Bonanza as well, it looks pretty dope. Donkey Kong Bonanza, even though it's not a new Donkey Kong Country game, it's like, it's interesting with the whole like gameplay concept it has. It has like Super Mario Odyssey vibes to it, and not only that, but it's really cool how you can actually break pieces of the terrain, like smash rocks. You can smash through walls and rocks and pieces of the ground in general. It's proper insanity. Although, as much as I like all these concepts that they're bringing into the picture, the price point is what's putting a lot of people off, and it's actually making me, in a way, debating whether or not I want to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2 or not. And as a matter of fact, in terms of like the Nintendo Switch 2's release date, I personally reckon it's too soon for us to have a Nintendo Switch, especially since the first Nintendo Switch hasn't even been out for 10 years yet. It's only been like 8 years since it released back in 2017, so might as well give it another couple of years. And on top of that, if that's the case, then it's only a matter of time, which it turns out this is going to be the case. But you know, now that we know it's the case, that we're getting the Nintendo Switch 2 this year, there's practically even less reason to get it, because especially the fact that it's not even, they decided to backpedal from an OLED screen to an LCD screen because they've released an OLED model of the previous console and now they're backpedaling to an LCD screen. What's the fucking point in that? It's like, it's a waste of an investment, don't you think? I mean, they think they're gonna make more money just by releasing different models of the game of like the same console later on down the line. They think they're gonna make more money releasing 2 different models of the exact same console later on down the line, but it's actually not. Because like they think everyone's gonna repurchase. They think everyone's gonna reach proper deep into their pockets. They think people are gonna reach balls deep into their pockets just to fork out to buy like multiple different versions of their own console. And it's like, people are gonna be, I'm willing to bet that that's the case, then I wouldn't be surprised if people were gonna purposely skip the Nintendo Switch pre-order. I wouldn't be surprised if people were gonna skip the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order out of protest for them like making it ridiculously expensive and releasing it too soon. But with that being the case, if they were doing that, then probably the best course of action would be to wait until a potential OLED model of the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, which I honestly reckon that would probably be the best course of action. Because fuck spending double amount. Because like, fuck spending double the amount of a console just to have like 2 versions of it. There's no point. Oh, I see Rob's just joined the general voice chat channel. Cheers for stopping by. Yeah, I read some of your comments too, but yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, just about to end the live stream, but having a bit of a chat about Nintendo Switch 2 to the chat, plus yourself.
Oh, cheers, yeah. Well, as I say, I got your email. Your automated Twitch notification to say that you were live, and I thought, I thought I'd just leave you a comment saying congrats on the milestone. But yeah, so how has the gameplay gone then?
Okay, so yeah, it went well. It definitely went well. The gameplay was actually pretty chill. It went well for the most parts, but it was a pretty mixed bag.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you saw the comments and everything, yeah, a lot of things at work have just tailed off. Like, everything's gone dead because of the asbestos problem.
Right, yeah, the asbestos. Yeah, he said that. Yeah, I was at the office when I got the email, but everything has tailed off. The culprit is asbestos. Yeah, indeed it is. I don't know whether Dark Lizard was responding to me or you when he said, "Is it?" But yeah. But yeah,
I think Dark Lizard was referring to what you said about Nintendo Switch.
About the Switch 2. Okay, that's good to know. Okay,
yeah,
good to know the mic.
Yeah,
it's probably what it was. Yeah, it's good to know like the mic wasn't muted for that long either. But yeah, I think that would be the best course of action, to wait for a potential OLED model to come out. Because like, that would be better value for money. Especially with like the fucking price points for Nintendo Switch 2 games, like $80 per game, and I think over here it's even worse. Like, it's £80 per game, which makes it worse. Because if it's $80 per game, it's supposed to be cheaper for us. We're not supposed to pay the same amount of pounds, but no. because pounds is a stronger currency. But you know,
Yeah,
I think the fact that it's £80 is even more of a rip-off, and you know what takes the piss even more? Like, the Nintendo Switch 2 has like an it has like, the Nintendo Switch 2 itself has like an introductory demo game, but in order to play that introductory demo, you have to pay like $20 or something, which is really stupid, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid because that shit should be free. And from what I remember, at least from my personal recollection, when the Nintendo Wii came out, it was bundled with Wii Sports for free.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know what the fuck this is all about. But you know, and Nintendo are just
Well-
anti-consumer as fuck, especially with the way that they treat emulation like it's piracy when it's not. There's piracy and there's preservation, and if these games are not even being sold within the public domain anymore, not even as part of like the general market, then it's not even considered theft, let alone robbery. They treat it like it's armed robbery, but it's not even petty theft, if anything.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's all
Fucking
swinging roundabouts.
pathetic.
It all comes down to the bloody tariffs. It's just the tariffs that have done all this shit, and it's like,
Yeah, the
why was
tariffs
there
are
any
certainly
need
part
to
of
put
the
the tariffs
problem.
on that? You know,
Yeah, it's like, why mix up games with politics? That's even worse. Like, how the fuck's that gonna pay dividends? And on top of that, like, this goes back to like making like different models in order to like have people reach deeper into their pockets just to like have the best possible experience. It's like that's not gonna pay dividends because there are a lot of people, even though Nintendo has like a massive fan base, even then, like, not everyone is stupid enough to reach that deep into their pockets when they know how to prioritize their own expenditure.
yeah, budgets and everything. Yeah,
Precisely.
it's full of these tariffs are just full of bullshit because you know.
Yeah, it's just creating
Trading-
more havoc
trading is-
across the world.
Trading is, you know, is vital in its own aspect because, you know, I mean, I know that Trump is sort of like, we shouldn't be relying on other countries and everything. Well, not for everything, but just some things, you know.
Yeah, I get that completely.
I mean, here in the UK, they banned like meat from being sold in supermarkets that was imported from the EU, and it's like,
yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
I have to admit, yeah, I've seen plenty of articles, especially due to like being banned from importing meat from like other countries and stuff. But anyways, we're not going to take a deep dive into politics here. But yeah, this
We're not going to get no.
This has been a fun. Yeah, I get the sentiment and everything, but yeah,
It just makes me sick.
yeah, it makes a lot of
Makes
people
everyone
sick.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, if the Switch 2 was a bit more reasonable in terms of its selling point, then fans would probably take a different view. But it's just like,
Precisely,
shit.
they'll have a different perspective. On top of that, people wouldn't
Yeah,
be split about whether or not they want to pre-order a Switch 2. And yeah, I personally reckon it is too soon. Because
mean, I
I think
even
the
remember the
Switch
fact that-
1 still needs air to breathe. Especially with these, like,
because how long
what
has
do you
Switch
call
1
it?
been out then?
It's only been
Yeah.
out for like 8 years, like since 2017. But speaking of
Oh,
it,
yeah,
although like that is technically a long time, but at the same time I still don't feel like it's long enough. And on top of that, like
That feels
when
like,
it comes to it doesn't feel like it was
yeah.
long ago though. That's the funny thing.
No, it doesn't. No, this is the problem. It's sort of
'Cause
like, well, I think
Crash
the
Bandicoot
issue
Insane
that I-
Trilogy came out that year. That's how
Yeah.
short it feels.
Yeah,
insanity.
I think what happened was COVID changed everything, literally everything.
Yeah, practically. Like, it felt like COVID made it feel, well, it made time feel like it was going faster than it's supposed to be, which is insane.
Yeah, It's just absolutely insane. It's because of the perception on people's minds and everything. Because if we
Yeah,
didn't have
like
COVID,
it
then
tripped up
it would
everyone's
have been a different.
perceptions for real.
It would have
So, yeah.
changed the reality of X, Y, and Z. You know. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Well, as I say, yeah. I don't know when I'll be streaming next. I mean, I might do something this week. I know people in my kind of, let's say, acquaintance division have asked me when I'm next streaming, but I don't know. I don't know yet because I've just been too busy with bits and pieces. Even though there's nothing much going on at work, but I'm trying to be proactive given my role. So I've just got to, crack on and
Yeah, it
just
makes
keep an eye
perfect
on things, really.
sense.
It's sort of like ADHD, but on steroids. Even though I don't have ADHD, but yeah.
Yeah, but like, point made, point proven.
Yeah, exactly. Point made, point proven. Oh, I saw Dingo. Not Dingo. I can't say. Why do I keep saying Dingo? Cola Pro.
Cola
I saw
Pro.
his stream. I
Yeah,
saw Cola Pro do Croc.
Yeah, he did a couple of streams, and he streamed Croc as well. I didn't get a chance to catch Cola Pro's Croc live stream, but I got to catch his Sparking Zero live stream prior to that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's because he posted on the TNC Discord server.
Yeah, he posted it in.
So I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he posted it in
try and hop
multiple
on
Discord
it.
servers.
Yeah, so he must have just put a plug on the TNC and then just said, right, I'm streaming now. Come and watch. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll have a look. And yeah, and to be fair, I think he might have got the remastered version of Croc because the frame rate was so smooth, it was unreal.
Yeah, it's definitely the remake. Yeah, they're selling it on GOG, and if you purchase it on GOG.com, you get the original classic version along with it as well. So it's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, as I say, I think it's just because I know that when you did the 2022 live stream, the June one, when you did the original Croc, when it was like, polygons and everything.
Yeah, when I played it on the Mednafen PS1 emulator.
Yeah, it was good because that was what it was back then. It's just in emulator in today's kind of, let's say, era.
And
But
also,
anyways, yeah, as I say, I just thought I'd stop by. I'm going to go and get cracking on with some stuff. But
that's good. Yeah, it's all the same. Like, I'm looking for someone to raid right now as well. So yeah, it's all just a bit of a process.
Yeah, it's just running through the database and just saying, who should I raid tonight?
Yeah, man, just scrolling through all the Twitch categories, the database of Twitch categories.
Yeah. So are you still having those out of protest snaps still?
Yeah, pretty much. Which, by the way, I'm keeping to my personal life, but yeah. Yeah, out of protest meals.
Yeah, I don't blame you because I sometimes have that as well.
Yeah, you know what life is like. You gotta make, you gotta make personal adjustments to yourself to keep yourself going.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's all about changing and trying to be a bit optimal.
Yeah, you gotta adapt optimally.
Yeah, it's just the optimism that.
Yeah, optimism keep you going.
Tired. Yeah, I could do with like a bloody Coke Zero or something because I am, like, honestly, even though one of the clients wanted some help with a device that they're wanting to connect onto a network, I could have just checked it remotely. I didn't have to physically go there, to be honest. Really speaking, I didn't have to physically go there, but I went to the office just for the purpose of the fact that I wanted to make sure that the work that I did last night was all working fine and the devices were running on the new version of code because I was upgrading them, and to hopefully mitigate any vulnerabilities.
Yeah, so you just ended up making a journey. Really. Yeah, made a journey to keep an eye on things.
It was only like 7 miles, but yeah. I mean, I don't know if you would classify that as a journey. I mean, that's more of like a commute, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Just a short trip.
Short little ride across, straight run. Like, as soon as we get onto the dual carriageway, it's just a straight run. But the most frustrating thing is when you get to the village where my work is, the lanes merge, and when it's rush hour, people in the outside lane try to be cheeky. But then sometimes if the people in the inside lane are already in front of them, then they should hold back.
Yeah, but like people like to skip. They're fucking dickheads.
Yeah, well, because they should really look what else is beyond the car that's in front of them, because you can see, because that's why the windscreen has been, purposely designed so you can basically capture everything that's in front of you. Because it's not a case of, well, I mean, yeah, you do have to check your rear view mirror in case anyone tailgates you. And I've had situations where people have tailgated and then they held back knowing that they made a bit of a mistake because they were getting quite close. And if you've got like a smart sensor like my car has, it bleeps at you and it kind of like,
I have that
rapidly...
same premise. I have that same mechanism. Like the bleeping,
mechanism, yeah.
The parking sensor.
Yeah, it's like a parking sensor. Yeah, it detects on how close you are to an object or whatever.
Like object or a person or a wall, pretty much anything.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's quite useful. But yeah, it's just one of those things, man. It's a pain in the ass at times. I mean, I get used to it because it gives me an indication as to how close or how far I am. If I'm too far, then it doesn't bleep, but if I'm too close, that's when it bleeps. It's a good system, really, that we've got in these smart cars, even though they're not really electric. They're just hybrids and
it's just
standard manual cars with just a sensor on them. But yeah.
Yeah, honestly, proper cars are better than smart cars. But, we digress.
Then we'll have flying cars in the next couple of years.
Honestly, flying cars are long overdue. But if 2015 is anything to go by, but yeah. Yeah. It's like Back to the Future Part 2 reference. Precisely. My point exactly.
We've just gone past that bloody era and we still haven't got flying cars.
10 years ago, 2015 was. That's crazy to think.
Yeah, we've got drones, but that's not even close.
Yeah, drones is only part of it. So, I mean, it hovers, but it's not technically a vehicle. It's just an appliance.
It's just someone controlling it. It's just someone like controlling like a little.
It's basically a remote control car that can fly without wheels. Plus, it's got a camera so you can see where you're going and record shit.
Yeah, because you need a license for having a drone. You got like an operator ID, and you've got. Yeah.
They got to find a way to police it.
Exactly, yeah, because there's flight restrictions and you can't go into those areas unless you get explicit permission. I mean,
yeah, like invasion of privacy and all that. Trespassing.
Well, I think given that situation,
yeah,
if you were gonna like go onto a no drone area with explicit permission, I think that's if you were working for a company and you have to capture an overview of what's going on. If there's nothing else, if there's like no activity going on, or if ATC have been aware of it and what have you, then yeah. But again, it's all about request to send, clear to send. That's usually the concept behind ATC and the operator of a aircraft or a drone. Yeah, it's
pretty much anything that hovers, they would do whatever possible to legislate it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go and hop on to the real reality, which is basically going to the shops and get some stuff done.
Alright, cool. And speaking of which, I found someone to raid. Crazy Critter 13, who's currently doing a birthday streamathon, which is day one. I presume it's this person's birthday. birthday today? If so, happy birthday. Also, I think since you mentioned Dingo Crash earlier on, he has recently hit 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. So yeah, happy 15k subs, Dingo Crash. Even though it was recently. Yeah, I'll pass the message. But
yes, tell him that I say congrats on the
perfect
on that milestone.
Yeah, on that particular milestones. Yeah, since we're celebrating milestones here, on top of that, even though like he was going to do a live stream at some point, but yeah, milestones up in the building, mofos. But yeah, he was recently going to do a live stream at some point as well. But like I think he was going to celebrate that milestone as well, but I'm not sure whether or not he but like I'm not sure what the case actually was, because it didn't actually pan out happening. I mean, I'm aware of the fact that he's been having computer problems as of recently, but then like I think he got them sorted because he was having problems with his RAM initially, and then like I think that got fixed. Yeah. But then now I think he mentioned it in the server. But yeah, but now I reckon he's gonna, I don't know what he's doing about his live streams at this point, because initially before all that shit happened, he's been doing them every weekend. He restarted his Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time live stream series that he had in place, but now he's like, now he's just, I think he's just getting on with life, and not just that, but I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but only time will tell whether or not he'll do his 15,000 subscriber special live stream over on YouTube.
Yeah. Alright, well, anyway, Spidey is going to sign out and hop into the reality world. So, yeah, I will catch you later, Cooper.
Later, Spidey.
Laters.
Okay, Spidey's officially signed off. Okay, so now no time like the present to raid Crazy Critter 13 as I do the outro for this live stream. And I've got to say, it's been fun coming back to doing these live stream celebrations, and I reckon I might or might not do these live streams on consecutive days, as in like take like 1 or 2 days off as like a break in between them, since the next live stream, especially since the next live stream I plan to do for the second live stream is to play Crash Bandicoot 2 Entranced. So yeah, that's the Crash Bandicoot XS any percent completion playthrough out of the way. So that's like 1 out of 5 of the goals knocked out for this live stream series event. So the continuation shall take place for the second part of the live stream series event. So yeah, stay tuned for Crash Bandicoot 2 Entranced, whenever it might happen. Okay, so I got the raid ready for Crazy Critter 13. He's currently doing a birthday streamathon live stream series, I presume. So for those of you who are here, stay tuned. Okay, I think now would be a really good time to wrap up the live stream, since everything has been said and done. Okay, so anyways, here we go. For those of you who are watching this live on Twitch, feel free and be sure to drop a follow if you haven't done so already, in order to keep yourself up to date with future live streams, whenever they may happen, whenever possible, and also stick around for the raid. And for those of you who are watching this archived on YouTube, feel free and be sure to subscribe, like, or rate, however you want to put it. Drop a comment below to leave constructive feedback if you possibly can, and or share it around with whoever possible. And see you lot on whatever's up next on both my YouTube and Twitch channel. Until then, laters everyone, peace out.